Figure It Out is brought to you by Speed Republic from Mad Cave Studios. In the near future, Europe is plagued by hollow visions of unity. Food is scarce, the water is polluted, and health is a luxury reserved for the 1%. An escape from poverty presents itself once a year in the form of the Grand Race, an all-out action-packed rally across Europe. Where anything goes, Speed Republic. Written by Ryan K. Lindsay, with art by Emmanuel Parascandalo. Colors by Michelle Monti and letters by Jomette Gill. Coming February 2nd, 2022, from Mad Cave Studios.
To our last Figure It Out episode of 2021. I'm your host, Juwaan. Joined with me, as always, is Joel. What's up, Joel?
What's up?
On this episode, me and Joel are going to kind of just be talking about a year-end wrap-up show, really. Kind of some of our favorites, you know, stuff we maybe didn't like so much, whatever the case may be. But we do want to give a huge shout-out to JD, Eat, and Joe. They will see you guys on the other side of 2021 into the new year. They will all be here next week for an all-new episode of Figure It Out. So do not be afraid. Nothing bad happened. We'll be back. So this wasn't a takeover or anything. They'll be back. But all right, Joel, let's start off with, I saw someone post something that I was like, I was going to save for me and your show. We could still utilize it for me and your show, but I thought it was interesting. I want to pull it up here. It was asking who was the best villain of the MCU this year. I have all the names. I have to stretch this out trying to remember them all. But I don't want to ask who was the best villain of the MCU this year. I want to ask, does Phase 4 so far have the best villains of the MCU history? So we got obviously Agatha, we got Black Smasher, He Who Remains. I guess you would tell me that I'm forced to call whatever that Black Widow villain was
Taskmaster?
I guess I have to. Ultron.
That wasn't the main villain though. That was more what's his name?
Oh yeah, Prokhorov or Pekarov.
Yeah, that's like Prokhorov.
Yeah.
The guy that brought the Nets one year. I mean, that was the only former.
Yeah, he seems bad, and he's Russian.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
that's
that
what
works. The Mandarin.
Dreykov.
Okay, what is it again?
Dreykov.
Dreykov. Okay, that does sound
nothing like Prokhorov.
Nothing at all.
There's a cove in here somewhere, though, right? Yeah.
Look, there's a Russian tone. The Mandarin, Ultron, the Mandarin. Now, this one I didn't really agree with.
Ultron?
From What If.
Oh, yeah. It was no joke. That guy was a freak, yeah.
For Eternals, I don't really have a main villain for that movie.
Eternals. Technically, it's Icarus.
No, because technically it's not. It's what's his name from the Deviants.
Crow.
No, only because that's who they were marketing as the big.
Yeah. He was an antagonist. He was.
Not a good.
But but so Icarus was also became the antagonist.
They have here on their list the Celestial.
Yeah, Arishem.
Right.
Well, that's not a bad one. I mean, but good luck fighting that guy.
Yeah, best of luck to you.
I got it. It's the you said Agatha.
Agatha. Yeah.
See, He Who Remains. Is he really a villain though?
Well, yes, in the sense of that whole manipulation of him getting Sylvie to kind of kill him was very villainous. And when you find out he was the one literally behind the entire time variance.
He's responsible for the what are they called? I always forget what it's called. The main timeline. What is it called?
Oh shit. And we literally had this conversation a few days
Yeah,
ago.
I always
We
forget
forgot. Shit.
I always forget what it's called. But my point is, I wouldn't consider him a villain. He gave it. He let her choose, and she chose to stab him. So
Well, then that show we could nullify then, because then that show didn't have a villain. Because they set Sylvie up as it, but then it was like, no.
Yeah, Sylvie was technically an antagonist, but was she, right? Technically it was he who not it was weird. It's weird. It was really like, is he the bad guy or he's not really a good guy?
Right.
It's like the Wizard of Oz. Was the Wizard of Oz bad?
1,000% he was. 1,000%. That was nothing but manipulation to get them there, only for them to go, wait a minute, you're not real? No, not really. Yeah, that's
I
very.
wouldn't call him the villain. The Wicked Witch bitch. That bitch was bad.
You know what? All right, fine. If you don't want to call the wizard a villain, he was the world's first catfish.
At the time, yeah. This is what catfish look like.
Right? Okay, so to close it out, we got obviously Kingpin and then Green Goblin.
Oh man, Green Goblin killed it too, man.
So would you say he was your and I'm sorry, let me go back for a second because I brought up Shang-Chi, but let me correct myself. Wenwu, not the Mandarin. He made it very clear he didn't like to be called that. So.
Yeah, Wenwu was no joke too. Yeah, Wenwu was pretty beast. Though he had a soft spot.
Yeah, for sure. But to me, that like his, I don't know, because then that's gonna sound very hypocritical of me saying I don't ever need my villains to be sympathetic, but his was more driven to madness than anything else. But then no, because you can't really defend the opening of the movie where he's just taking over dynasties and killing people.
He was a warmonger.
Right. So we've had a warmonger and a killmonger who people want to sympathize with. But I'm gonna go with Wenwu. Only because
your favorite?
Yeah, from this collection of bad guys. But to answer the question that I gave to you, but I don't want to put you immediately on the spot. I want to give you a second. Of is this the best collection of villains, phase-wise, in MCU history? And I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no because Phase 1 still has to be my favorite. It's not
Ironmonger.
Ironmonger. I love Obadiah.
Loki.
Red Skull.
Red Skull.
Loki. Why am I drawing a blank on Phase 1? Phase 1 ended with Avengers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Loki
we just said them.
We said all of them. Okay.
Red Skull and Loki were the highlights, right? So like
I love Ironmonger. I love Obadiah Stane. I love him so much. And honestly, I blame that Iron Man series that you do not really enjoy.
Good.
Because to me, like I said, growing up, I didn't read Iron Man comics. I just watched Iron Man the animated series. And that series would have you believe that every fucking comic book series was just the Mandarin. That was it. It was the Mandarin. So
that was his main villain.
Yeah, not only the main, but not only. So when I saw Obadiah, I was just like, and then you got Jeff freaking Bridges to play him. So that was probably my favorite. That was probably my favorite phase of villains. Not saying it was the best. It was just my personal favorite. Was the beginning because I thought you just hit the ground running. Hugo Weaving, Jeff Bridges. Now we look back and we go, well, Tom Hiddleston is a pretty good way to come out the gate swinging. I choose not to count Iron Man 2.
I liked him a lot as a villain, honestly. I liked him more than Ironmonger, honestly.
See, I only hated it because I'm like, well, the only reason I hated it was just making Crimson Dynamo.
Yeah, they mixed, they hodgepodge two characters.
Right.
I really enjoyed his performance, and I really liked what's his
Justin Hammer.
Justin Hammer.
We can count Justin Hammer too. Yeah, we can count Justin Hammer part of that.
Justin Hammer was good.
He was, and again, another brilliant cast.
So yeah, I liked the both of them. So no hate here. I liked Iron Man too. I'm one of the few apparently. So I like Iron Man too.
I always tell you, I never thought that movie was bad. I just thought you built me up, and then you ended the last battle like so short. It was like done. I'm like, what the fuck? What?
And it was just them two versus him. He was not gonna win that.
No. I just didn't like how short it felt. Like, I swear, when they were flying around trying to get everyone away from the bombs, that felt longer than that end fight. That was my only issue with that movie.
I should have. I mean, I don't mind. I didn't mind the whole thing. I should have taken a while. I should not have been easy to handle. The 1-on-1, well, 2-on-1,
right?
A little different, obviously. But yeah, it was Crimson. It was Crimson Whiplash. Or not even Crimson. Right. He wasn't red, so it was two Whiplash.
No, he wasn't. But see, that's what. Because I always tell people this. Because they're like, "Well, why did you think he was Crimson Dynamo?" I'm like, "Well, besides him speaking Russian, they gave him a suit. The suit was to let you know it was a blend between
his name
and Dynamo.
It was the character, name, right? Yeah, his character is Crimson Dynamo, but they gave him whips, like twice. Like he has a thing for whips, electric whips. All right, cool.
Remember? No, so I just want to stress that I didn't dislike it. It was the end battle, and then just not making him Crimson Dynamo and bringing in Whiplash. Like, fuck.
I'll be honest, I had no idea he was Crimson Dynamo or Whiplash. I knew it was some type of weird. I just thought it was Whiplash, to be fair. And I figured, they're just gonna give him armor. Well, I guess that makes sense. Didn't realize that the character really was Crimson Dynamo. It was backwards. But I didn't know. Like I didn't know the characters' names that well. I just liked his performance, so I was cool with it.
That's fair. All right, so was this phase 4, the best villains phase so far?
I would have to look at we went through phase 1, but what about 2 and 3? I have to think about it because how do you? There's a lot. You had Killmonger, you had Thanos. There were some good villains.
No, there were. All right, so let's play this. Let's play this out. So we got 4 phases. We already did 1 and 4. So 2, excuse me, Winter Soldier,
which was technically Bucky, but he was more of a weapon than the actual villain, which was Hydra, and that was whatever his name was at the time.
Oh yeah, that Robert Redford was playing.
Him, right? We'll just call him for now. But yeah,
Robert Redford. Robert Redford. That was a villain. No, but okay. So let me say this, because you're not wrong, but if we're gonna do this, let's just do it by the most recognizable threat of these movies. So, yes, was Hydra the actual villain? Yes. But they were marketing that movie for the Winter Soldier to be the villain.
Right.
So let's say Winter Soldier. So you got Winter Soldier in Iron Man 3. So you had Killian.
Not a good way to start phase 2. Aldrich Killian.
I'm trying to go by the ones that I remember. Actually, this is a way simpler way to do this. Let me just pull up phase.
Aldrich Killian and Extremis is not a bad villain. They snuck their way in there. You know what I mean?
Had an opportunity to do MODOK before it would have ever been cool.
No, but I don't think using Aldrich Killian and Extremis was not a bad idea. They didn't promote that. It was about the Mandarin that they faked this out with, and that's why I think that left a bad taste in people's mouths. But Aldrich Killian and the Extremist, that wasn't a bad villain necessarily. It's just they didn't market that, you know. Who else? What was the Night Elf, whatever his name was? What a waste. Thor 2.
Jesus Christmas. Okay. Phase 2. Okay, so phase 2 is Iron Man 3, Thor Dark World, Winter Soldier, Guardians, Age of Ultron, Ant-Man. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So so you got Yellow Jacket, which broke my heart. I remember when they announced it, and I was just like,
he was good though. Darren Cross, right? As Yellow Jacket was good.
He was phenomenal. I'm only saying it disappointed me because that meant I'll never get the good guy of Yellow Jacket when they announced. I was just like, oh well, that's never gonna happen.
The Yellow Jacket was a villain. All right, whatever.
No, it made sense to make him a villain first, but I thought they were gonna do the same thing I thought they were gonna do in Age of Ultron, where it was specs that existed already by Hank, and it's someone stealing it and making it their own. And it's like, okay, I could at least accept that Hank was creating the Yellow Jacket for himself.
I blame Hank for having that many fucking identities to begin with. So you had to limit it to one. Gotta pick the most popular one. All right, fine.
I agree. All right, so we can go Killian. We can go some elf. And I'm
Yeah, he's a night elf. I just don't know his name.
Elf. Okay. The night elf.
What's his name? He has
I
a
got
name.
you. 1 second, I got you.
Thor Dark World.
No problem.
That's actually I'm going through the MCU very slowly at the moment, but that's my next movie, Thor Dark World.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Again, don't hate the movie as much as I thought I was going to.
No, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I just, it's my least favorite MCU movie.
What the fuck? Why was it? Malekith.
Cool name.
So Malekith, Cross, Ultron.
Waste. Great villain, Waste.
Jesus Christmas. I don't even want to go through that.
You can go to Ronan. Right?
Ronan and Bucky.
Bucky was those were good villains, technically. Not all the movies were good, but the villains are good.
Yeah, no, this is a very hosh posh bagosh. You got one.
Well, they technically have the worst movies of all the phases are in Phase 2, and it's really just those two. At the end of the day. For me,
Dark World. Yeah. Well, I don't shine that heavily on Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron, but it's the least of the. I actually like it more than the first one. Not gonna lie. But
really, I don't think I've ever. Heard that.
I just recently watched the first one. I'm like, I think I like the Age of Ultron more.
Wow. Okay, breaking news, everybody. I've never heard Joel say that. That's first time. Okay.
I think I do. I think I like every Avengers like a little better than the last. Ooh, this is.
Yeah, I watched the Avengers maybe about a month ago, like just the Avengers movies, and I still, it's Infinity War by like a mile. I don't think that any of those movies come anywhere near how untouched. Like it's perfect. Like how people feel about Empire Strikes Back.
I don't believe in perfect.
I don't. I still to this day can't find a flaw of Infinity War.
I can pick out anything apart. I choose not to because I'm a good person.
I would be very interested to hear what people didn't like.
Yeah, I could. If I really wanted to, I can probably pick apart the world, but I'd be a villain.
The world. All right. Let's go to Phase 3. We have I just blank on his name.
Both Phase 2 villains are pretty good.
We got Zemo. We got Ego the Living Planet. We got Vulture.
Ego was good. Vulture was great.
We got Killmonger.
Killmonger was great.
We got Thanos.
Thanos is great.
We got Thanos twice.
Yes.
We got Mysterio.
Awesome.
We got Captain Marvel. Was Jan-Rog technically the big bad? Or was it the Supreme Intelligence?
No, it was more. I mean, Jan-Rog.
Jan-Rog. Okay. All right. So Jan-Rog, that was probably the weakest.
Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok was Hera.
Hela.
Hela. Sorry. Who's Hera?
Hera's the goddess, Greek goddess.
Shit. Sorry.
That's Hercules' mother.
Oh shit. She's sitting somewhere like, the fuck did I do? I'm sorry. We also got Ant-Man and the Wasp, which technically.
Oh yeah.
Technically.
It was Ghost. Yeah.
And of course Endgame, but that's why I said Thanos twice.
Her father was Egghead. That was cool.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, Phase 3 villains are fucking good. Really good.
Yeah. And it's so crazy because I'm looking here. Phase 4 will be the greatest to date because we go Black Widow. We talked about that. Shang-Chi. We talked about that. No Way Home. We know how great that was. We also got to figure out who the big bad of Multiverse Madness. We're about to get Gore the God Butcher. We don't know what to expect from Black Panther. We don't know what to expect from the Marvels.
We have
or Guardians 3, even though we can.
Marvels, I have no idea.
In the Marvels, we have no idea. Guardians, we can assume Adam Warlock, so that's about to be really fun.
I think it might be the High Evolutionary.
I will. Oh my! I can't even say what I would do if it's the High Evolutionary. Oh my! Because I told you. Remember, I told you after Eternals, I thought we were heading that way to the High Evolutionary.
It's been rumored for a long time that that's where they're going. It seems like that might be the case. I don't know. Like, I don't see Adam Warlock is not always a bad guy, especially
that's why I assumed
Adam Warlock is bad as Magus, not as.
Right, but that's why I assumed Warlock would be kind of like Bucky, but of the Guardians of the Galaxy, to where you fight him, and then it's just like, oh wait, no, you don't want to do bad, right? And it's like, yeah, no, I don't. And it's like, okay, we're friends. It's like, all right, cool.
No, I don't expect him to be the villain, honestly, but we'll see.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania. There's 2 being rumored. One Joel praise is not the case. The other one Joel will be very happy for.
One, I'm not that I'm praising. It just doesn't make sense. I'm like it's just like.
But it is okay.
Hank cannot be the main villain of that movie at all. It just can't. Juwaan. How does that make any sense to you?
I do not disagree with you. I told you from the beginning.
That's when I heard that MODOK was in it, I'm like, now that makes sense. That makes sense.
I've been preaching that for the longest. MODOK always made the most sense, especially for how they go about doing it.
He's in the movie. I just don't think he's the main villain of the movie because. It's like when Thanos was in Guardians. He wasn't the main villain. He was in it. You know what I mean?
Well, the reason why that worked was A, his connection to Gamora and Nebula, and B, he hired Ronan to go do the job. So it's just going to be interesting.
That's storytelling.
Right. No, but I'm just saying I'm just curious to see what his role is because to me, I'm like, I don't want him doing something nefarious in the background because my mind's immediately give me more fucking Kang.
You're gonna get more Kang. It's gonna be. There's no way it's in one movie. It's gonna.
100%. But I'm saying putting him in there the whole time I'm watching, like, just give me more Kang. That's why I'm like, if you give me MODOK, that's perfect. That's a perfect balance.
Yeah, he's gonna be in.
Like, all right, great.
So they have someone to fight. Ant-Man and the Wasp beating Kang. I just want you to say that out loud and believe it to me.
No.
Okay. Well, then that's why it's not gonna be a thing. It's just not.
I told you I'm with you though. I didn't argue for it to be a thing.
Fighting me though. You're like, I'm not trying to fight it. I'm just telling you what makes sense and doesn't make sense.
And then obviously to end this off would be Fantastic Four. So yeah, this Phase 4 might be one of the fucking sickest, illest fucking phases ever. And that's not counting the TV shows.
Right. Yeah. But if I had to pick my favorite villain of this phase so far, or at least just this year. Yeah, man, probably Green Goblin. Like that was probably, he was a beast. I was not. He's always been a dick, but Jesus, the Green Goblin from the Raimi movies came into this MCU and stole the show.
Yeah, I want to give John Watts a lot of credit, even though you can make an argument that Sam Raimi was probably somewhere close by, just like, hey, Doc Ock, Goblin, those are my guys. You want me to walk you through it? And I only say I give John Watts credit because I rewatched the first Spider-Man movie, and that movie was as close as you could get to a horror movie in Spider-Man's world. That probably had the most jump scares of any fucking superhero movie I've ever seen. So you get to No Way Home, and it still feels like that. To where anytime he pops up, it's just so eerie. So they did an amazing job making Green Goblin as terrifying as possible.
He was incredible as the main threat of that movie. Yep. Good job on them because wow, I was incredibly impressed with that. Like we can go through it like we just did. Agatha was a great villain, but it wasn't like Like she wasn't bad, not at all. I think she was very fun. She was one of the better ones this year, honestly. That's she's getting her own show, bro. That's good enough, right? That's how you know she's good. She stole people's hearts with music. Flag Smashers they had a good idea. They expanded it, and it wasn't just one Flag Smasher. It was like a group of Flag Smashers, and there was a good message there. Just I don't know if it was 100% handled the best way.
It was not. We got
So
lost like 6 different times, and you're just like,
yeah,
okay,
it was a group of super soldier bases, super soldiers, you know. But Carly, she was a beast. I'll give her. She was fighting for the.
I love the spin of it. Carly Morgenthau.
The gender swap. The gender swap.
I loved it from the beginning. The execution of it was just
she was. I mean, they did exactly. She was basically the same character from the comic books. They just 100%. Handled it a little weird, but then not 100%. You know, it didn't 100% land. Is what happened. Yes. Mm-hmm. Of course, Loki. The who's the villain and who's not the villain. The villain is the hero. The hero's the villain. It's just a lot of who the fuck, what the fuck in that, and we're still trying to figure out what's going on there. And that was one of my favorite.
This is why me and you said from the beginning, this is the confusion you'll have when you give Loki his own show. Because we've said this before. If Feige gives a person their own show, he's never giving a villain their own show. He's turning them in some way, shape, or form, right? So it's like when you're watching the show, you're kind of just like, why are you making me root for Loki? Is what I don't understand. Like, your end game isn't to make him an Avenger. So it's like, well, then what is the means to the end here? You know what I'm saying?
He's such a popular character, just keeping him around.
But see, that's what I was telling Tia. I don't think. Well, obviously now. So let me preface this. Now I understand what you're saying. But it wasn't that he was becoming popular. It was the fact that Feige wouldn't let you breathe without finding a way to put Loki in something.
Yeah.
So it was just the repetition of it. And Tom Hiddleston is just a phenomenal actor. You just fall in love.
Yeah, and I did. I loved this Loki. It was a really good show. I really enjoyed Loki a lot more than I expected. The fact that it's one of my favorite shows of the year. It's like Loki was really good, and the fact that like I'm sitting here telling you it was wrong that what they did with the variants, but at the same time I like the cosmic timeline in order,
right?
And the fact that now it's a mess, like we owed it to the He Who Remains to keep it the way structured, and now you've unleashed the beast, and that is Kang. So we'll see how that plays out. And I think now the villain is going to come out to play at the end of it all. Black Widow, it was really Dreykov who's the main villain, and then like Taskmaster was his weapon. He pointed it, and it was obviously it was a different Taskmaster than we we know. They gender swapped and changed the character completely. It wasn't even a gender swap. It was just a new character.
That's what I was about to say. It just wasn't Taskmaster.
Yeah, it was Taskmaster with a different name and different way of different type of abilities, because it was more technical, like mechanic, like using technology, not like
more tech based. Yeah.
Right. So Taskmaster, I mean, she was a beast. I'll give her that, but she was also one note. She had no personality. And Dreykov's a dick. Well, we've always known Dreykov was a big, right? So now
I also thought the execution of that, like you making it his daughter, I get it. But I'm like, you could have kept the origins of the character and it would have hit more. Because you could have just kind of teed up, like, how does this person just know every step of Natasha's moves? And it could be because they worked together in S.H.I.E.L.D. for so long. So not only do you have the photographic memory, you also have seen her in action enough to kind of just know her moves. And then it turns out it was an operative. Because I tell you what, you making it her daughter that you just introduced in that movie is no less confusing than if you had said she was an ex-S.H.I.E.L.D. operative. that was turned. So the route you went is where it just fell flat, and it was just like, oh, that was very uninspired.
Yeah, it was like, okay, you made a choice. I don't agree with the choice, but whatever. Like,
But
we will live
remember what
on.
we said? We said we understood why they fell so flat on Taskmaster, because you were then giving us Echo. And Echo, to a degree, feels exactly like Taskmaster. So I kind of felt like it was
Echo's abilities are exactly like Taskmaster.
right.
I mean, we didn't really get to see that in this.
Well, we saw it once. We saw it only once when she was a kid at the dojo. She was studying how that big kid was able to take down everyone, and then
right. There was a little sneak peek. We'll probably get a more in-depth look at in her own show. Maybe that's what they were just saving it, so you don't go, oh, so she could do that the whole time.
And I think putting it in the same year as Black Widow, some people might go, that looks eerily familiar, and it's like, no,
well,
it's not.
It's not that.
Yeah,
literally, this bitch is like watching recordings in her side.
right. She's just watching
that?
TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just watching TV, going, "Huh, okay, all right, jot that down." Okay, so you said, yeah, what if was Ultron? Go ahead.
Infinity Ultron was a beast. That was a scary villain. Very scary. The fact that you had to create a fucking multiverse Avengers to fix, to figure it out. So I'll say he was definitely the most imposing villain, but because it's animated and it's because it's like literally within the MCU, no one knows what the fuck happened because they stopped it. It's not as critical to the storyline, but Infinity Ultron was definitely could have been the villain of the year if he actually made it into the MCU. But
look, if as long as this multiverse is open, it leaves the ability for that to be something somewhere.
Still alive somewhere, right? Yeah,
But I will say, to me, I don't put. Well, I see what you're saying. So let me preface that. I see exactly what you're saying.
Definitely the most dangerous
villain. But to me, what he did to Uatu is what makes him probably the best villain of this phase so far. Because for Uatu to just be talking junk behind him, and him to go, I hear something. What is that coming from? Like, oh, hey, you. And then he's just like, oh my God. like, wait, what? You can hear me?
He bossed Thanos. He fucking took out multiple universes. He was insane. He was a god. He was an evil guy. It was insane what that motherfucker did.
He threw hands with Uatu. No one else in Cosmos can say that.
Yeah, I mean, still, like, that's fucking crazy. What he could do is insane. The fact that you got Uatu to fight somebody, like, what? They don't fight.
Uatu's whole thing is I don't get involved. And it's like, well, you don't get involved with these hands. I tell you that.
Exactly. I was not expecting to fight anybody. It's just I watch. That's what I do. I watch. Other people do my job. You're crazy.
So we got Wenwu. Me and you were blown away by Shang-Chi. That movie top to bottom was great. Wenwu was awesome. I did not mind how he went out. He went out, being a father. I had no problems with that. None whatsoever. Again, I still don't ever need any more villains that have a sympathetic background. I just don't.
Yeah.
But
he was a beast for very many years.
Yes, he was. Before
he settled down just once.
Right. That's why I said ultimately they did it the right way. It wasn't like he was so torn each time he was conquering because he had kids at home. He didn't care. He was killing everybody. But in the end, he valued the family he had more than the family he thought he could get back. So I had no problem with that.
Trying to get his wife back. It's not gonna work that way, bro. You were being seduced by a demon.
That demon was like, we're so close. Come on, she's right here.
Open the door.
So I appreciated Wenwu. Wenwu was a beast. And look, As somebody who very much wanted rings on fingers, they found a dope way to make
They
wrist
scold
rings.
you, who was very upset.
I was extremely angry. Because I'm like, it's just like it's Whiplash, but with rings. But no, they did an amazing job.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see if Shang-Chi comics going forward just adapt that. Like the whole thing. Wenwu was his father, the rings going on the wrist.
We'll see.
Because at this point you kind of just look at it and you're like, well, I don't really need the traditional Mandarin anymore. Now
I mean, they've already had to fucking change name. His father's real name. I mean, the original it was
Fu Manchu.
Yeah. So they've already had to change his name in the comic books.
Right.
Well, so who knows?
Hey, what's up?
What's up, Trevon?
Yo,
Hey,
What's
I
up,
don't.
Trevon?
so we're doing, let's go.
You jumped in at the perfect time. We're doing kind of like a year-end wrap-up, and we started off with
MCU.
the MCU. So what we were just talking about was we went through the Phase 4 villains, right? And of course Phase 4 is still going, so it's as of now.
Right.
And the first question I asked was what phase had the best group of villains? And then what villain was your favorite from Phase 4? If you don't remember the other phases, don't worry. We just went through it and that was long. So we don't have to do that anymore. So you can just stick to who your favorite Phase 4 villain is so far.
Which is this year, basically.
Yeah, just this year. Just anyone you saw this year. I got the list if you want me to go through them.
Yeah, give me the list.
I got you. Agatha, Flag Smasher and Carly Morgenthau, He Who Remains, Taskmaster, Infinity Ultron, Wenwu, aka Mandarin. Eternals we didn't figure out yet, Joel. That was still
I mean, I guess it's Crow, but was it just Crow? Like, because I
feel like it was Arishem. I feel it was Arishem.
Arishem technically, yes.
Yeah.
But it was also Icarus because he was until the end,
Well, wait, hold on. Let's talk this out for a quick second. We're not gonna stay on here, but I'm taking that back now. I don't think Arishem belongs in that, and here's why.
Porque
his whole premise was extending the lives of Celestials, right? So they were saying Arishem and the Celestials were the reason there is an Earth, there are humans and whatnot. So I think it was more so, I don't think he was doing it in an evil, let's kill mass
Right.
It was more so, I just want to create.
It's not Galactus.
Celestials, right. So if you want to go more so,
yum yum.
If you want to go more so, I'm in it just to kill, it would be Crow. Because Icarus was only carrying out.
Crow was also getting smarter and trying to defend his people.
He was.
Because they were getting killed off by Eternals.
Right.
Because they were eating too many of the smart.
I kind of view it as maybe the Celestials aren't technically evil, but I feel like they put the Eternals there, but they also made the deviants. So they made the conflict that they were going through in the first place and kind of I won't say lie, but led them astray by telling them why they were there.
No, time out. No.
At least
No.
Yeah.
You're he told her, and he said, you tell everyone, and she decided, no, I'm not gonna tell them. And that's where all the bad stuff started happening because they were in the unknown. They didn't know. So it was more so Arishem going, hey, tell the rest of the kids, tell your siblings that when I get home, have the meat out, have it thawed. And she was more so, all right, Arishem doesn't get here till 5. It's only 3:00. We got some more time before we got to go run and take that chicken out the freezer. So to me, I get your point on Crow, but if we're going from a more maniacal standpoint of I'm here to kill, and then obviously it gets more complicated going forward, it would be Crow. Because look, Arishem at the end of that movie could have said, look, you defied me, Earth gone. He gave them a chance. He said, all right.
He is a giant judge. That means there will be a trial.
See, I just thought he was the most powerful one. I think he was the scariest one I was like if he
sure.
if he just felt like it, he could have just snatched him up and just poofed him right then.
Yeah.
Or he could have done Earth. Either way, he could have done whatever he wanted. That's all I was like.
He's like,
woo. Like that opening, opening that sky like that. I was like, man, this is not a good joke. Like it felt so like powerful. I was like, this is y'all messing with the wrong one. I can't believe. Like for me, I was like, I can't believe y'all even went against him in the first place. The way that felt, I was like, how are you even going against this? Like
it made the MCU feel so small too.
It did.
Like, everything we watched
really
almost. They're like over this is like a larger scale type of thing.
Yeah.
The fact that the Eternals did what they did makes you like you give them credit because the Earth wouldn't be alive without them, right? So it's like you're like
I'm like Doctor Strange can't help you with this. Like Captain Marvel can't help you with this.
Hell
like
no.
This is done.
I'm telling you right now.
Like
Go ahead, Joe. I'm just saying they're Eternals, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've been around so long. There's no way they look at the Avengers on their level. That's just how probably what it is.
100% not. 100% not. But yeah, no, there's no way Strange saw that and went, oh no, I definitely can give them a spell that'll work. Like hell no. Like Airship will go spell. Yeah. All right, and you're
it's what the Avengers have done. And the humans in general is the reason that Ajax felt the way she did, and she's like, they deserve to live. They don't deserve to die.
Right.
Because of that. Yeah. So it's like, we'll obviously Arishem will be judge of that, but we'll see. We'll see how that all plays out.
Well, and look, it was a great start to what the end will be, Galactus, and
we hope.
It fucking better. It better. 10, 15 years, 20 years down the line, I better be sitting in the theater watching Galactus.
I love the idea of, like, we talked about it not long after the movie came out, where it's not just Galactus randomly eating planets. He's eating planets with celestials in it. So he's a celestial eater. Yes. Like, that's such a good idea that I hope I'm not the only one that thinks that way.
I'm telling you, somewhere Kevin is going, I hear you, Joel. All right.
There's no way I'm the only one that thought that. I know other people have talked about it. So I'm like, it makes sense. Like that.
I didn't actually think about that, but now that you say it, yes.
It would make it makes
inside
It gives Galactus more than just, I want to eat every planet.
He wants the energy.
And then you just add that, it makes him almost unstoppable.
Yeah.
Per planet with a celestial in it that he eats.
Yeah,
because picture
is that what he's looking for? Is that what the Silver Surfer is technically really looking for?
Right,
not just
planets.
Right,
it's
looking for a celestial inside.
And this motherfucker celestial sticking out the planet now, so he didn't have to go far. He's like, oh shit, I can see it from here.
And Joel, the main thing I love about that premise is the idea that Arishem is terrified of Galactus. Like Galactus is a myth, like something that they haven't had to come across in so long, that now that he's back, it's like, shit, I done killed half my kids. Fuck, what do I do? It's like, I know. Do me a favor, the Avengers, can y'all come help me with this thing here? Like, I don't know what to do. Like, this is a lot.
Yeah, imagine him going through the living Celestials. Like,
yes.
Who knows? Like, we don't know like what their plans are for that. But Galactus is. And now look, after seeing Arishem and how big he is, you're like, imagine what you can do with Galactus. Like,
yes.
And I'm just visualizing Silver.
The first thing I thought about. The first thing I saw was like, oh, okay.
We're gonna do this.
I think that was from Guardians, right? When they first showed them in Guardians, I was like, ooh.
Oh yeah, but you couldn't really. When you saw them in Guardians, you kind of were like, oh, that's big. But then you see them in Eternals, and you're just like, oh.
Because that was just, I mean, they're probably coming here, but I'm assuming they're all around the same size, but you never know. But they're big, obviously they're big. Because one of them that was in Planet. We saw I forgot which one of them that was, and obviously Unknown. The where they fucking in Guardians. There's a fucking like whole planet built inside this one head. It's crazy, like a city.
I would like to see them balance that. I would like to see Galactus is bigger than
nowhere,
all of space. bigger than all of space, but then he can, and I don't mean like shrunk down to their size, but you remember the size that the Celestials looked in Guardians on screen where they could walk on plane, right?
Yeah.
I would like to see them go from that large to where he can come down and just walk on planet. Because when you think about it, you're just like, that budget will have to spend to have all the Avengers in space fighting this large thing in space.
I think he fits
It's
on the
massive.
planet. I think it just because he's not on the planet. Like, I think he could stand in the planet if he went. Well, we saw the Celestial. He was gonna stand up. He was coming out. You see his hand, his head sticking out.
No, but that's what I'm saying. He looked to be obviously massive. I'm saying just like enough to where it makes sense that they're fighting. Like, he's still large, but not large enough to be sticking out of the planet as he's walking. Like, you see his head in outer space. Right. I want it to be to where it's more manageable, to where he can do both. He can be larger, or he can come down to where he can walk on Earth and fight them on Earth. Kind of like how Earth's Mightiest Heroes did it, to where he was massive, but just not that massive when they were on Earth.
I know what you're saying.
This is one thing I don't understand why people aren't like, for Eternals. I loved everything about it. I love what it gave us. Just the scale that it gave us of what they can do, and the way it made everything feel so just not like this stuff that we've been through so far is nothing compared to what we could go through in the MCU. And I was like, how are you guys not excited about that concept? Like, just the fact that we have these giant Celestials out here. Like, I mean, the scale, just the feeling of when he first talked to I forgot I can't think of her name right now. I feel bad. Right. Yes. When we first talked to AJ. When we first talked to AJ, I was like, God, and then we talked to Cersei. I was like, this is ridiculous. I was like, how is this not exciting? Like, I didn't understand. I was like, this is so cool. Like, the fact that they keep leveling up for me, like the movies keep, like, even like I was gonna say my favorite villain is Agatha, and that's because for me, I told you guys I love witch stuff. I love the supernatural and all that, and we got her, but then they actually showed Salem, like they showed her, you know, go back in time, and she's been stealing powers all this time, and I was like, that's really cool. I was like we know Doctor Strange uses magic or whatever, but not like that. That gave me, I was like, oh, so they're actually doing real witch stuff now, like the runes, all that stuff. For me, it just
dark magic
expands. It just expands what the MCU has in it, like Blade. You know, we're getting vampires now. Blade, like all that is just very cool to me. Like, I was like, you know, every time I'm like, oh, what else can they do? And then they do something else. I'm like, this is great. Like,
but that's why I always say, like, I feel sorry for anyone who's coming into the MCU now or like a phase ago, because there's no better feeling than at the end of that Avengers movie to where you're just like, they just took on Loki. Like, that's crazy, the Chitauri. And then you get to the end and you see Thanos, and then you're just like, oh shit, like things are going to get massive. Then you get to Thanos and you're like, there's Celestials, there's this, there's that. Oh my God, the world's about to get massive. That's why I keep saying people trying to bring Avengers that are gone or dead or left back. I'm like, bro, we're about to get so many characters. By the time you get all the characters we're about to get just from this phase, you'll have forgotten half the people you want to come back. Because the roster is just so expansive.
I mean, I remember that feeling I had with Loki when he was like, how'd you get these in the drawer? And he was like, oh, we have many of those little paperweights. I was like, bro, you know this? Like, what? What do you mean?
I'm like, Tony Stark died because of these things. What the hell?
Oh my God.
Not here, baby.
That was a mind fuck for me when they did that. I was like, what? It's like, what do you mean?
We're on another level.
Crazy.
That was awesome. All right. So, well, then let me ask you this. The best MCU film in Phase 4 so far. Joel, I'll start off with you.
Oh man, that's a tough one. I'll probably go with No Way Home was my favorite. And I obviously have a personal connection to Spider-Man's my favorite Marvel character. So for me, it was fucking fantastic. So like, if I start anywhere, it'd probably be Spider-Man No Way Home. My number one, probably Shang-Chi would be second, because that was fucking great for me. That was like amazing, Shang-Chi.
Yes.
Then I'd say probably Eternals, and then Black Widow. Not that I didn't dislike Black Widow. Of the four, it was my favorite.
I'm going Eternals number 1. Number 2, Shang-Chi. Number 3, Spider-Man. And then number 4, Black Widow. Black Widow I did dislike. But Eternals number 1, because I was telling Joel when we left, I really kept feeling like they're just going to avoid the whole story, the whole actual story of the Eternals. And I'm like, that was really going to bother me. Then you get the iconic shot of Icarus with the eye beams to the sky. I fell in love with that so much.
Oh, kill them off.
Yes, right. That was the sucky part. And
There's
then
a lot of
Joel,
parts I was like, come on.
Do you actually think he's gone?
yes,
I do think
Really?
he's gone. Yes.
Really? Okay.
yeah.
I do.
And then I told Joel what saved everything for me with that movie was when they got to the end and Hersham was like, I'll give it a chance. But when I get back and I give my ruling, that's what happens. And I told you I loved it because that was comic accurate. That's what he did when he first left them here. He said, all right, in a million years or 1,000 years or whatever, I'll be back. And when I get back, I need you guys to let me know, do I destroy it? Do I keep it? So I appreciated that they ended it that way rather than just making it that way to begin with. Shang-Chi was just like, who knew Marvel could make martial arts look so goddamn good? That was a shock of
it.
It
Was 2 movies in one, bro.
It sure as hell was. It sure as hell was. That's why I appreciate the director going, yeah, we need to get Jackie Chan for part 2. And I'm like, yeah, Jackie, Jet, whoever else you can get everybody up in this piece. But no, I just appreciated that world. And again, seeing them go to a different dimension, and then knowing that another dimension should exist with a certain Iron Fist down the line. Again, the ramifications just opened up so many fucking beautiful things. Spider-Man, to me, it's just unanimous that it was just the best. But not my all-time favorite of this year, but clearly the best movie out of these movies. And then, come on, Joel, our faces seeing that comic accurate suit at the end, even though we couldn't fully make out the suit as much as we wanted to.
I that movie made me feel. I had so much feelings during that movie. It was hard to keep a straight face. That movie was tough. I was like,
and it's funny because I had to explain to somebody today again why your superheroes can't have perfect endings, and I still to this day don't know why people don't understand why your superheroes can't have perfect endings. They have to have the grief, the loss. They can't have everything. You can lift a fucking car and you get all the hot chicks? No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. Push Gwen Stacy off the bridge. Like, you can't have everything. Sorry. But no, that will forever be a time in history we will never forget. 30 years from now, 40 years from now, we will never forget this moment. And then Black Widow, like I said, it wasn't a bad movie. I just said going into it, it needed to be good enough to, I'm trying to think of the specific word I'm looking for. To, like, it needed to be good enough to warrant that movie coming out now. And I felt, no, go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
I understand what you're saying. I took it as the only reason it exists now, aside from the obvious reason, which is she deserved it. Like, was it? It's a launching point for her sister.
Right.
And my God, has she been great?
Yeah, she's lived up to it. That's for
They
damn.
They also couldn't make her movie back then, probably when they wanted to.
No. They could have. They just there was some of
time
Feige.
is different.
Well, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. They would have never got. They would never be able to put that out back then. So
yeah, I just like I said, I viewed it the same way I did Matrix, to where it's just like you made it, but now it's kind of just like, did you need to? But I appreciate you.
I actually enjoyed Black Widow, so that's the difference.
Black Widow hurt my heart. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm going Eternals number 1 for me. Joel went No Way Home. Trevon, what's your number 1?
My number 1. So this is went back and forth for me. I really loved Shang-Chi. But I think Shang-Chi and Eternals keep getting flip-flop for me. And I'll tell you why Black Widow and No Way Home my 3 and 4. Because Eternals, the scale of it, like I said, that just gave us a lot. Like it just made everything feel small. It made made me excited about the MCU even more than I already was. It just felt good. I was like, okay, this is the scale, everything's going on here, the Black Knight stuff, hearing Blade's voice. It just a lot, all of that just really invigorated my excitement for the MCU in general. Shang-Chi was just a great film all the way through for me. And I love I know you guys say he don't have any powers. That's what y'all say. I say he has abilities, he has powers. I love that. He got the powers from the Great Protector. I don't care. That's what I said. That's what I saw. That's what I saw him doing. And that's how I'm going with it. He got powers. I enjoyed his abilities. I enjoyed him fighting. The fighting was amazing. And I thought his powers were really cool. For me, with No Way Home, I have certain movies I just like, once I watch them once, yeah, there are great moments in them, but the way they end or how sad they are makes it really hard for me to want to watch it fully again. I would love for certain parts of No Way Home to watch again. So I would love to see those parts again. Also Black Widow, the child kidnapping stuff that's in it is very much hard for me. Like, man, like, especially when she's on the plane and I know she's just like riffing, like, you know, they did this to us, they burnt it. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I was like, see, I can't do this again. Like, their banter is great. But when you get to like, when you really think about what they went through, I don't know if I can watch this again. Like, the movie is great, done very well. It explained how traumatic her life was all the way through. I'll give them that. They really explained that for me. And just, I mean, I know you guys say we got the Peter Parker we should have now. He's by himself. But I'm like, he's really by himself. And I just really don't know how I feel about that yet. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, that's just, I mean, he should have somebody. Like, he has literally no, I'm saying, but right now, how I see it, he is legit alone. And I don't know how I feel about that. That's why I was like,
the fun part is the journey. That's how I like
100%.
it.
I don't see it as being fun.
Well,
it will be fun. That's the point.
Here's what it sounds like people are under the impression of. That, like, that movie ends where now Peter exists all the way over here and can never exist over here. That's not how it ended. So he's not alone in the sense of he'll never have friends again or he can never join the Avengers again. Like, none of that's true. It's just as simple as, and that's why I said I think a lot of people miss this. He starts the movie by only thinking about what he wants. He wants the girl. He wants the friend. He wants the abilities. He wants the school. He wants no one to know who he is. And Strange had to explain to him that's not how this job works. Sorry, that's the way Feige keeps writing these movies. You don't get everything, especially people not knowing who you are underneath your mask.
Especially in this universe, man.
Especially right. So that's why I appreciate it when you get to the end and it's like no one knows who he is. And he accepted the idea of, I could tell her right now, kiss her, and maybe she remembers everything. But it was the idea
call the cops on me and, date rape type bullshit.
Right.
None of my life is over before it starts again.
But it was more so, excuse me, I want to put them before myself,
right,
for a change.
Oh no, I mean I got that. It's just
Think about this. Think about this, Trevon. They would have died for Peter. She almost did die for Peter.
yeah.
He's saying you should not be put in those positions again. You should be able to go off to college, get your degree, have the life you want, rather than trying to jump into danger with me every day. That shouldn't be the life you should have. That's how I looked at it, and that's why I accepted, yes, he should go about a lot of these things alone. I don't usually need to see Ned with Peter in the battlefield. Peter should just be in the battlefield. I don't need them anywhere near the danger, ever.
I mean, I grew up with Spider-Man alone, like always. Like that's part of his charm. All he had was really Aunt May. Like,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like that's what okay. You see, he had Aunt May. He had somebody to at least in his real life, somebody to talk to. He literally has nobody to talk to. Like
now,
nobody.
Four now is what I'm trying to say.
Right? Yeah. It won't be that way. I'll even say it won't be that way through the entirety of whatever the next movie is we see him in.
Oh yeah. No. We'll have a friend. Who? We don't know yet. We'll figure it out.
But it opens the doors. It opens the doors.
Spider-Man has friends. Peter doesn't have friends.
Right. But for Peter, Trevon, it opens the door for Gwen. Liz can come back because now she doesn't know the whole Peter Parker Spider-Man, or not Spider-Man, but the whole Peter Parker connection. Now Vulture doesn't know his identity anymore. So Liz could come back. He reignites something. He starts something with Liz. No, I'm saying they could. I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying there's a bunch of characters that are in Peter's life in the comics that could now come in because Ned wasn't a Peter Parker character. So they kind of did a riff off of.
He was never his best friend. No, that was me.
So there's a lot of ways you can go. So he won't be alone forever. You guys were making it sound like he now lives in like a Sony basement where he can't interact with people anymore.
Peter will never find
right. He will never speak to people. He'll just have a plant. And
that's the least of his worries. Now he has to get his GED again. His identity is gone. That's what he has to worry.
Yeah.
He has to get a job with no identity. He has to work under the table. It's crazy.
But all right.
Luckily, he's a fucking genius. He'll figure it out.
He'll figure it out. All right. So next, I want to go to DC. I want to head over to DC, and what I want to do with DC is I want to start off with what has been DC's best product this year. You can go TV show, you can go animated show, animated. No, everything. You could either choose.
We only had 2 movies.
Yeah, no. You could choose animation, live action TV show, movies, whatever stood out. I'll go first. I'm not putting anyone on the spot. It's not done yet, but I haven't felt this thoroughly joyful of something I know 15% about, and I'm giving it to Young Justice. Young Justice, there has not been a bad episode yet. Not one to where
I have a counter for that show.
Go ahead.
I just have a beef for that show. I just do not like how they do it. I don't know. This annoys me. I don't know. I just don't like. I know they always do the thing where they have a storyline and then they jump out of it and then they jump into something completely out of the park. Like with this Connor dying thing, then all of a sudden something else. I was like, I just didn't like it. I literally stopped watching the show for a little while. I was like, no, I can't do this. I just get back to that. Like, I need the
most recent episode. Then.
Yeah, you should.
No. I'm caught up now. But I'm saying I stopped for like.
I enjoy it because the show's not about one specific thing. So it's about it's a world.
Yeah, I actually love what
happens there.
This is the first time they've ever done that. I've never seen them do what they're doing this year, where they do 5 episodes of one thing and jump to a new storyline with different characters. They never did that ever.
That's why I don't remember. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah,
I thought it was.
I love it because like we're getting different aspects of the universe, and like the first part was aliens, and we got this whole deep dive into Martian fucking history that I never knew. No
racism and politics.
Oh my god, it was amazing the way they did it.
It really was.
And then they jumped into the assassins and the whole thing with the the League of Assassins, and the sisters, and the whole drama there, and all the back for Lady Shiva and all that bullshit, and all that drama.
Then we got to the magic. Now here for the magic.
I'm like, this is some good shit.
I was here for the magic.
No,
magic is good. The magic shit.
That's what I'm loving about this season, because you've over the course of these 3-4 seasons have opened up a world, right? So it's never been about one particular thing. They just had one focus throughout the first few seasons. Now it's telling you, bro, you know how dumb it would be to sell us on the fact that only one thing is happening for all these characters? No, we want to set up this, then this, then this, and then we bring it all together for whenever we get Darkseid. So they're doing a great job of kind of like planting the seeds.
Oh man, they do such a good job of world building. They've had from the beginning. It's so impressive how they do it. It really makes me upset that I can't see it in live action.
I said that. Yeah, I said it on Twitter when I was watching it when we got to the Zatanna stuff. I was like, they have so many characters that they do not use. That's one thing that makes me mad about DC, and I can't have to compare it to Marvel. Marvel does not have access to all their characters on a whim. DC literally has every single one, and I was like, but you guys still, you stick with certain ones every time. Well, I'm like,
their problem will always be the biggest difference is, and we've been over this ad nauseum. They're run by numbers, not by the love of the characters. So you don't really have anyone in those powerful positions that are like, bro, I grew up reading Zatanna, I grew up reading Dr. Fate. Let's get these movies going. You have figureheads that are like, bro, what will make me money? And then someone walks in and goes, what if we just give them nothing but Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman?
Just got new characters. It's really just Superman and Batman, and mostly just Batman. So it's like, and even now on TV, they just push everything Batman related and not Batman himself. And like, stop doing that.
I think that's why I was saying for Blue Beetle and and for Static Shock. That's why I get so annoyed every time they say we're still writing it. I'm like,
but I keep telling you,
how long are you gonna be writing it?
If they're taking their time, that usually means there's been a few drafts. Maybe there was something they didn't like. They're perfecting. I'd rather
or it won't happen.
No, I don't think that's the case. Especially when you have Michael B. Jordan behind it. You'd have to really turn Michael B. Jordan off for him to want to walk away from something like that.
I'd be worried about Booster Gold and then Plastic Man. Now, where are those guys at? Yeah, then you should be worried, because we've been hearing a lot and getting nothing.
Yeah,
but I think Static, as long as they announced it, now that they're going in that direction, we'll get something.
Yeah,
we'll get something.
But yeah, so I'm going Young Justice as my favorite DC product of the year, because it's only going to get better. And then if you end it with everyone getting ready for a big battle against Darkseid, and then I gotta wait next season to see it play out, and then the fallout of everything, I'll love it. I'll love every second of it. I won't want to wait. I don't like waiting Friday to Friday.
Bro, that's how it ended. Season 2 ended with teasing Darkseid, and then they canceled it.
That is true.
As long as they renew it, I'm
100%.
I think that is it the creator or the writer on Twitter is always like, it's up to you guys, and I'm like,
because it is. It is, even though to be fair, Greg Wiseman, I think is who you're referring to. Even though, to be fair, it wasn't canceled when it was because we weren't watching it. It was canceled because it couldn't sell merchandise. Because again, your main characters were secondary characters. You're not really selling that to a 5-year-old. You weren't selling Batman.
DC has never been in a position where they had to get creative. Like literally, Marvel took their C-list characters and made them A-list characters. Pushed the agenda. That's why they are where they are now. DC never had to do that. Never had to worry about that, because you always have your moneymaker, right? Batman. And then you have Superman. 2 of the most recognizable superheroes in the world, without a doubt. You know what I mean? And they milk that cow so much, they leave other characters, they want some love too, and they just don't put enough effort in marketing other characters. So that's why it is important for those new characters to get movies and TV shows, and for them get it out there and market it and put real like big actors in them so people want to go see these movies. And people will go see these movies. As Marvel has shown you, there's a way. There's a way to get
100%.
You know?
100% of the way. So I love Young Justice. And again, the more Young Justice does well, the larger there is an opportunity, for that to be live action down the line. But we have to continue to support it and for it to do well. And then it'll force Warner Brothers' hand of shit.
You know what's funny?
For this cartoon,
I wasn't a fan of I first heard of Young Justice because I'm like, that is not the accurate team. I was very upset. It's like, that is not the team that I remember from the comic books. They hodgepodge the Teen Titans with them, and like that's not the same team. But man, and it's funny because my cousin told me about it. Like, yo, that show's really good. I'm like, you sure? I'm like, really? Because the animation looked really good, but I was really upset at it because it wasn't the right characters. And then I gave it a chance, and I definitely don't regret going back because that show is fantastic.
I think it felt like for me when the original Teen Titans show ended, and then we had Justice League Unlimited. It filled that void for me, like the more gritty, more like not kiddie. Like I don't know, Teen Titans Go really threw me off.
Kitty.
This very gave me what I was looking for.
Yeah,
this gave me what I was looking for.
And they made it even more adult when they got the HBO.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. There were a few episodes I was just like, you can't be doing this for children.
Jip.
Like, I don't understand what's happening. It's like,
I low key. Some of the episodes they don't go quite as far as Invincible, but I'm like, and they're pushing it a little bit.
Yeah,
100%. Especially when someone dies and they're just like, no, they die. Like
they're dead.
Seriously dead. That's when I knew, like, okay, this is not.
And they be catching off guard. You're like, nah, I'm still waiting for Kid Flash to come back. Like, what the fuck?
Right? Yeah, like, come on, when are you guys gonna go get him? And it's like, never. He's dead. And I'm like, oh no, don't do that to me. Now I'm thinking about that scene again. I'm gonna cry. Oh God, that's one of the saddest deaths ever. Mainly because, and that's what upset me, Joel. The whole, I'm not as fast as you guys are, and it's like, but you're supposed to be. I don't know why they're doing this to you. You're supposed to be.
You're faster, but
right
for the show.
I'm like, he's like, let me do it, and it's just like, no, let Barry die. Like, I have Barry in the CW. Let him die. You live, and it's like, oh no. So I'm going Young Justice for best DC product this year. Joel, what are you going with?
I mean, I could have went with Young Justice because that was it's really good. But to be different, and there wasn't really a lot of movies this year, and definitely as much as I enjoyed Titans season 3 and Doom Patrol season 3, they were fun. I can't say it was better than my favorite. My time with DC, aside from maybe Injustice, was the Suicide Squad. That movie was so good. It's up there as one of my favorite, and might be my favorite DC movie to date. And it's crazy how much I enjoyed myself during that movie. And I'm like, damn, this movie is really good. Like, surprisingly, I knew it was gonna be good. I didn't think it was gonna be that good. And I was like, holy shit, I really had a lot of fun with that movie. And I can't wait to see more from whatever he does. I can't wait for Peacemaker now because of that shit. And look, I've been behind Peacemaker being a thing for a long time. The fact that he's bringing him to life, I mean, all the power to him. So, the Suicide Squad was probably my highlight for DC this year.
I like that. I did not know that was your favorite to date.
It might be. I don't know. I'm iffy. I mean, things change. I don't like keeping anything at one. Aside from like my superheroes, I usually keep 1, 2, 3. My 3 it's not moving. It's Batman, Spider-Man, Wolverine. It's not moving after. It's not changing. After that, it shifts. Like after that is like it'll shift. But
I think DCEU wise, I think there's only one movie that's ever had a number 1 spot that is not wavered for me, and that's been Man of Steel. Just DCEU, not all the other because once the Batman comes out, clearly that'll obliterate Man of Steel.
I really hope it does. I'm watching the Batman in hopes of it taking that crown.
Right, 100%. But just DCEU, Man of Steel to me was just like I fucking love this. I love everything about this. So that's probably my number one. Number two will probably be Suicide Squad. Because that was just like, I don't know any of these fucking people, and you made me fall in love with all of them. I didn't know Peacemaker.
That's what I mean.
I didn't know any of the. What'd you say?
That's what I said. That's what I mean. Like,
Oh,
the whole
yeah,
the
right.
characters, even characters I very like. Bloodsport, like, really? I was so upset that I found out it was Bloodsport. Like, Idris Elba's who? Bloodsport. Who the fuck is Bloodsport? And I'm like, now I'm okay with it because he did such a good job
Right.
with it.
But Joel, let everyone know who you wanted Idris Elba to be.
And they fucking refused to give me him. But I want him to be. I wanted Bronze Tiger. Period. I didn't care who was playing him. I just wanted Bronze Tiger on the team because he's a integral part of that team in the comic book. So I just really wanted to see Bronze Tiger. But no, we got Bloodsport. Like, okay,
And they did a really good job changing that up and making that a really intriguing character.
it sure did.
Even
I mean,
though
he looks
killing
cool.
it in the comics right now.
Yeah, he's a fun character. I mean, no, I don't see a lot of him in the comic, but they brought him in. He looks now just like that in the movie. The movie look is his now comic book look. So cool. Like, whatever works. Again, that movie was fantastic, and I enjoyed a lot of the DCEU. I didn't like, just like Thor: The Dark World is not my. I didn't hate Thor: Dark World. It's just like my least favorite MCU movie. It's the same way I feel about the first Suicide Squad movie. It's my least favorite DCEU movie, but I enjoyed it, especially like the first half of the movie. You know what I mean? It's not my favorite though. It's my least favorite, and my favorite is obviously now probably this one. But Wonder Woman was my favorite. I love fucking the first Wonder Woman movie. And then I really liked Aquaman. Shazam is really good. So that's why it's very hard. And the Man of Steel was good, but like my favorite, that's why it wavers. It jumps around a lot, you know. So, and Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut was really good. So like I don't. It's just fucking too long, but it was good. But so it's hard. It's hard to like jumped around.
Yeah, I will say Shazam was gonna be high for me, but I still to this day don't know how I felt about the Shazam family. I don't think I was expecting that. So when I saw it, I was just like, in his first movie, like, you're not even gonna have him save the day. You're gonna have the family save the day. I wasn't a huge fan of that, and that's what put me off a little bit from that movie. But everything else in that movie, I thought was perfection. And I still think the two greatest shots in DCEU history is Aquaman in that waterfall and that accurate suit.
There was so much.
Billy jumps off the roof.
So many good
visuals. Flies off. Like, that whole sequence of when he meets his mom and she's just like, oh no, that was on purpose. And then he uses that anger to go fly off. I love that sequence. It's right up there with Paul Kent telling Clark, like, no, let me die so you can have a future.
That still didn't hit me. It didn't hit me the same way.
I'm telling you, those two things will always hit me each time I see it. It's just like, damn, man, like, damn. But no, I like it. The Suicide Squad, that movie was great. That was really, really, really good. And it's what we needed this year for DC. Watching some of the CW shows, watching Titans, Doom Patrol was flawless. It was flawless. I wanted to see if I could find something I didn't like in Doom Patrol, and I couldn't. Like, I was like, what did not? Nothing. I loved it all. But yeah, so we got Young Justice and the Suicide Squad. Trevon, you're up. What are you going for DC content this year?
Shot.
Look at that.
Had it ready.
Not a sunlight in sight.
Not one beam of light going down.
I'm sorry. What they did with Flash, what he did with Flash, and what they did with Cyborg in that movie, for me, just, I don't know. It just, that's it. That was great to me.
It was great.
Cyborg got his due in there, and I really appreciated that, and I like that a lot. But that was the main thing. I feel like those were the main things they really added or put back in to this movie for it. Everything else was pretty much similar, but those two characters really got their due, I felt like, in it this time. Yeah, I don't know. I can't. Doom Patrol, I haven't been keeping up with it, so I can't judge that. Titans was awful. Titans pissed me off. I don't know, man. It just kept,
Titans made me
Titans
upset
kept,
too.
like it just. I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on, but it just.
My
I have
favorite
so many
season
problems.
so far. Even though yes, it did have
really?
it did.
Okay.
Yes, it was my favorite season, but it was
Oh my god.
problematic. I'm not gonna deny it had issues. I'm not gonna deny it had issues. But
I just wasn't expecting awful.
No.
I wasn't.
It pissed me off too. It pissed me off more than I enjoyed. Like that was the thing for me.
Yeah, no,
I think I was mad just about every episode.
It pissed me off. I was like, "Come on, man! Come on, y'all have it's right
Damn.
there. It's right there. Come
And
on."
it left you with some like it left things open ended in certain areas where they gave you no answers for some weird ass random bullshit, and I hate that.
And I don't like how they retcon things, like how they teased the ending of last season and this season started. Just none of that. What was that? What was the point? Like, I just had problems. Yeah, from the start of the season, I was like, "What is?"
No, it was not perfect.
I'll tell you
but it was my favorite of the three.
I tell you this.
Okay.
It was your favorite season out of the three?
Yeah,
Wow.
I liked it more than the Slade season. I like the Slade season, but
Wow.
Interesting.
yeah.
I think they they fucked up the least amount of things I cared about in season 2. So that's why that season, I'm like, I can tolerate that. There's not much they did in there that I'm like, why did you do that? You know? So I'm like, it was more palatable.
Well, I don't get it's like why every season that's an issue. I don't understand why every season they have moments where you're like, who wrote this and why? Why did you write this?
I don't know. I'm telling you, I swear, when they get to writing, they always bring in someone as their head writer that has never read a comic book before.
You know
They're
really,
just like, you want to be
really
different?
Me?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's weird. This is gonna get weird.
Mm-hmm.
Every season I'm frustrated with a decision they make in that show, but I don't want it to be canceled. Do you see how fucking weird?
Right, you're correct. You're right. No, I got you. I'm right there with you. I am. I'm like, please, I don't like. That's why I don't like go too hard on it. I'm like, this shit pisses me off, but please do not cancel it because I actually want to see. Like, I do like these characters.
I want to see the characters.
Yeah, I do like the characters.
But I get it. I trust me. I get it.
At this point, I feel like I'm kind of indifferent. Like if it got canceled, I might be a little bit sad, but I'm just like, but you know, season 3 kind of pissed me off, so I don't know.
It's just like I'm scared to not see Titans live action for a long time if that gets canceled. Like,
they do have a lot of potential, but they just need to get the right people in the writers' room.
I'm telling you, they keep just going for people that are like, bro, let's do something different. It's like, okay, what are you thinking? What if everyone sit down? What if Bruce Wayne commits suicide? They're like, okay, all right, where are you going with this? All right, hear me out. He sets the whole house on fire, right? He's going to die in it, but we come get someone to take him out, and here's the kicker. And they're like, okay, all right, I'm listening. We never discuss anything about it.
That made me so mad. What? I was like, how did she get here? Why is she here? How did this happen?
Yes.
Explain
it. Never talk about it.
How did Rachel not see her? How?
I'm telling you right now, there is somebody in that writer's room.
Teleported.
There's someone in that writer's room who is a fan of the comics, right? Who is saying, wait a minute. So hold on. You want Bruce Wayne to kill and commit suicide in the same season. And they're like, yes.
Whoever wrote season 3 obviously did not like Bruce Wayne.
They did not. They leaned into sociopath, murderer.
I'm like, man, you like, that's none of the thing. Boy. Hard body in this scene.
So hard body.
I really, I think the show really gets hit with budget as well. I feel like it's the writing and it's the budget.
It does. Because the writing's the worst.
The Beast Boy stuff,
budget, I can
drives me up the wall.
But the budget stuff I can really get over because I'm like,
I could too.
I'm like, when you hit really well on some of the visuals you hit, right? So I'm like, I'm fine with that. Yeah. But here's the thing, Trevon. I was raised on the CW, right? So I'm like, your budget could be the worst thing ever. You just can't match it with a horrible story. One of them things has the balance.
Yeah. Put the budget in the writers if that's what you got to do. Exactly. Give it to them.
Right.
Yeah. Like, why is Doom Patrol get so much better writing on their writing side? It's so much better. The storytelling is so much crisper. And in this side, like they literally, like you just said, with the whole fucking, he's gonna kill himself, let it burn, and then she comes first of all out of nowhere,
Exactly.
picks him up, takes him, saves his life. They never
God.
talk about it again. What the fuck?
I mean, we can't talk about the way she died. Like, there's just so many things.
Oh, that was, and then they made fun of it the whole season just to fuck up again.
Yeah, just spectacularly fail.
Oh my fucking Lord.
Yeah, no, look, Titans did its best. I'm telling you right now, Titans is trying its hardest to get us, to get them to get off air. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing.
Oh my God.
We won't let you.
They got the characters. They got the characters. Like, they just please just. Oh my God. I don't know.
Forget that, Trevon.
I don't
they
know.
got the actors.
Yeah.
I believe everybody in each of their roles. They are all amazing.
Yeah.
They're good actors.
Still finding ways to fail.
Bro, they did Starfire where I thought they were finally going in a different direction aside from the fire, where she would probably get her like star bolts and shit. Right. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And they go with blue instead of green. I'm like, what are you doing? Why do you hate me? I don't get it. Like, why?
I don't know, man. I also don't know why I am in. This was season 3, right? So I've now been in 3 seasons where you've mentioned the name Roy and just refused to show me.
Yeah, they just play with your heart there. You're like, never gonna see.
Like, all right. So I'm telling you this now. Season 4 ends with her working in the same company as Roy, and I don't see Roy.
Well, you know,
I need an Azarath Metron.
Yes.
I
think it's coming. I think it's coming.
Just need one.
Let me say this. Me and Joelle, when we interviewed the cast, I asked her that, and she couldn't answer me. She was looking for someone to get her out of it, so she didn't spoil anything. And I remember saying to Joelle, that means we're getting it. We're in 3 seasons now, and she's not even picking up books where she can.
Not even a piece of it. Not even a piece of it. I was trying to say it.
No. Did they say it at all? I feel like somebody said it during the season, right? Or am I wrong?
I haven't heard it.
Maybe it was just me saying it to myself. I would have
screamed. I would have tweeted it. I would have said finally.
I thought someone mentioned Azarath, but I don't know.
Did they?
Okay. I feel like her mom maybe
not this season.
I don't know.
It's weird. At least they gave her the fucking crystal in her.
They did Trigon really well. He was really good.
He did look good.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. All right, so let's go back to what Trevon actually picked. Why did you pick that?
Go.
I'm sorry, because I had to talk about. You said DC stuff. I had to talk about Titans. I had because I had to talk about what I like, what frustrated me.
Frustrations.
Yeah.
Made me sweat out of frustration with Titans, bro. It's not even hot in my house. I'm sweating.
The window now. Shit.
Zack Snyder's Justice League did fill in a lot of the plot holes we had from the theatrical cut. It also did a whole lot of other really good things, like, I don't know, putting Darkseid in the fucking movie was a great start. Simple thing. No one was asking for anything crazy. It was great. It was really, really, really good. I will not take that from that movie, but I will indeed, Trevon.
Yeah, we need to let it go. I
reinforce
that
you need to let that go.
The problem with that, there's a problem. This is Zach. Zach is doing this to us. Literally today, I saw somebody ask him, should we give up hope? He said never. And I was like, oh, it's never going to end.
What do you want him to say?
Of course he's going to say that. He's
going to say nothing. Just don't respond to these people.
No, he likes to respond to his people.
Yes.
I see.
He's never going to tell you no.
Of course.
Well, I'm going to keep thinking that. I don't know.
Unfollow him, Trevon. Do that for me.
I don't even go on Vero. It's just people posted on Twitter. I'm like,
there's a reason he's not on Twitter.
It is.
That's all I'm saying.
Yes, 100%. He couldn't make it if he went on Twitter. Vero looks to be only pro Zack Snyder.
It sounds like I think he has part ownership of it. Honestly,
part ownership. I think he is Vero. I think he's Mr. Vero. I think he created it just for himself. But no, it was great to see what a good Justice League movie could look like. Again, I wish they allowed him to do certain things, a la Green Lantern, just to get a feel of a Green Lantern again. I wish Martian Manhunter wasn't the true essence of a black person and just being late to everything. Like, oh shit, y'all are done already? Damn.
I do admit that the choice of character made sense, just maybe not the way they used them in the movie. Like it made sense for that guy to be him.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't have a problem with that. That was fine. That made all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
I just don't like you continuously telling me almost earth-destroying events keep happening, and he keeps going, well, next time. Well, what if it died this time? Like, when were you gonna pop in here?
I mean, like I said, like Man of Steel is not the best place to start a universe.
This is, I just feel like Zach just fought a lot for some of this stuff. Like he didn't get the Green Lantern. Although he shot it,
that should have been something from the beginning.
They let him use it. So
you wanted to go with Cyborg? That's on him.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true.
I'm already upset. You don't have to start me there. Green Lantern should have been there from the get. Fuck that.
I like Cyborg.
That movie will never be perfect because he wasn't in that movie. Period.
Look, for a lot of you guys that don't know Joel as well as I do, don't ever start a conversation about what should have been in the DCEU, because he'll start with Green Lantern and then work his way down.
Are you excited for the TV show they're supposed to do?
Oh, they're doing a Green Lantern TV show?
Yeah, they're doing 2 Green Lantern.
One day.
One Green Lantern.
A show and a movie. Okay. But we
announced it a while ago. But
yeah. They're working.
But that's what scares me, because I wholeheartedly believe they're going to give us the show. And in their minds, if the show's good, you'll get the movie. If the show's bad, we will again never talk about Green Lantern again.
And also, you were talking about the CW shows, the way they've been teasing Diggle with this mind thing.
With that,
and I'm like, let him do it one time. Just do it once.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Give him a ring. Give him a
I still don't know.
To me, the only reason that bothers me is you brought that.
Have you watched all the shows? Have you seen him like throughout? He been in like 4 shows.
Only thing I haven't seen him in is
where they like teasing
Legend.
him.
Only thing I didn't see him in was Legend.
You're not missing nothing. It wasn't important to Diggle.
Oh, okay, then yeah, I saw him in everything else. But the only reason the Diggle thing bothers me is it's like, all right, if I knew the movie was coming, like in another 2 years, right? I could say, well, I don't care what you're doing with Diggle. I know I get Jon Stewart down the line. I just wipe that out of my mind. But the fact that a Jon Stewart with a ring exists, and I don't know when the fucking movie comes out, it's what's irking my soul. Because I'm like, well, I don't have to wait for the movie if you would just do it now.
Yeah.
You not doing it and me not knowing when I'll see another Jon Stewart is irking. It's irking.
Jon Stewart, period. We got teased with Zach and his possibility of bringing in Jonathan in there. And I would have loved that if that's what they did.
Jon Diggle Stewart.
Jon Diggle Stewart. And I still want Diggle to get the ring and all, but look, Green Lantern's very important to the DC universe, in my opinion.
That animated show they did was amazing.
It was.
Whatever that last one they did.
That was incredible.
That was also Greg Weisman, right?
I don't know.
I think it was also Greg's show.
I just know it was great. I just loved it. I was like,
man,
more of this.
Very good.
More of this.
I'm telling you right now, as someone who watched Beware of the Batman and Green Lantern, their art styles were the same. I kept saying to myself, they're going to make a Justice League universe with these characters. And then you hear Green Lantern got the axe. And I'm like, okay. No one ever cancels Batman, right? Gone. And I'm like, oh my God.
You don't sell toys.
Like, stop saying that it doesn't sell toys and stuff. Make toys that I'll buy. I'll buy all the damn toys. Stop taking them. Like, stop taking my shows. All right. So we got Young Justice, Suicide Squad, Zach Lantern. Goodness gracious. Zach Lantern. Justice League. We welcome in Jamie. Good to have you, Jamie. What DC product are you going with? That was the best of this year.
I did enjoy, or I'm still enjoying Young Justice. I'm like a couple episodes behind. I actually really liked the Long Halloween movies. I thought those were really, really good.
They were. And that's universe building.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those are really good. I think I like them more than the Injustice movie that came out, although that was still really fun. I actually watched that with like my whole family. And so like when craziness happened, we all were just like, damn, what the hell? Like what the heck, Superman? But yeah, Long Halloween, definitely my favorite. I am biased though, because Batman's my favorite superhero. So
He should universally be one's
no
favorite.
arguments over here, man.
Yeah, Batman is just universally great. So I'm with you on that. I like that pick because Long Halloween also kind of gave you a little taste of what you can maybe expect from Matt Reeves' Batman. Because there are a lot of parallels between those two animated movies and then what
Sounds
you
like something I need to watch.
it's really good. It's on both of them are HBO Max.
Let me be very specific, Trevon.
It is already?
Yeah, it's already on HBO Max. It came out beginning of the year, then in the summer.
Oh, I thought it was like a digital release thing.
It was, but then like I randomly found it on there, so I don't know when it got added, but it's on
there now. But I don't want to say, Trevon, that a lot of the Batman will be taking from the Long Halloween. It's just when you're watching it, you can see some of the similarities from what those do, and then from the trailers that we've seen so far. But I don't want you to think like, oh, I gotta catch up on this, right before. Like, no, it doesn't.
No, I just didn't know if it was good or not. I never heard about it.
Oh no, God, it was very good.
It was really, really good.
Okay.
If you like the comics, you'll probably like the animated movie.
I know nothing about it.
So. Okay. Well,
this
is a good introduction. Honestly.
I didn't know anything about it either, and I still had a really good time. So
good introduction to those stories. But look, it's also, and I said it already, but I'm gonna say it again. It's a new animated movie universe.
Yeah,
because we already had that. Like, I don't know if anybody watched those. Those are really good. Some of them, hit or miss, but for the most part, it was at least they tried to do what we're kind of getting with the MCU, but they did it with DC and they did it in animated form. And they had a beginning and they had an end. And now we're getting because of what happened in that movie, we're getting a new universe, and we already have 2 movies in that, and now they've included the new Long Halloween movies into that universe. So I'm like, I'm in. I'm 100% in.
So what is the Long Halloween, and what else? What is the
what's it called? Man of Steel? Not Man of
Steel.
Man of Tomorrow, right?
Oh, okay.
And JSA, the JSA animated movie is connected to.
Right. And just for you, Jamie, if you thought that Injustice movie was crazy, speaking to Ernie Allbacker, who wrote that, he said if he gets greenlit for a part 2, it will only consistently get crazier. Those stories of Injustice are fucking bananas. Superman kills the entire Green Lantern Corps, becomes a Yellow Lantern so he doesn't die. You have a whole House of Magic act in the comics.
Those games are really good too, though. Like the fucking.
Oh, also, yeah.
People are like pressing Eddie Boone like every day, like, "Hey, Injustice 3, where's it at?"
100%.
I want another one.
Right now, Boone should never have a day where he's just like, "Man, what can I do today, bro?" Mortal Kombat, Injustice, get to work.
That's their moneymaker right now.
Like, get to work.
We did double Mortal Kombat. They know the next thing is either Injustice or something else,
right?
And it's usually Injustice. But like, what is it? When? Like, when are you gonna tell us?
Right. Like that man should never be sitting down. Like, what can I do today? You know what you should be doing.
I feel like we're not gonna hear anything probably till E3 because February is gonna be slammed full of like a lot of games, and at that point, might as well just wait.
I could be patient. Just give me something.
I just want to know that it's coming. All Boone has to do is tweet out like the number 3, and I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it. I can do everything else, no problem. But it's the mystery of trying to figure out, like, is this something you've been working on? Are you just going to announce that you're starting to work on it? That's what's driving me crazy.
I was low-key thinking that PlayStation was going to do another State of Play before the end of this year because the last one was kind of hit or miss for a lot of people, but as of today, that I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. But I don't know, maybe start the year off with a State of Play.
Yeah, I'm picturing Sony right now just like, oh, okay, Jamie, I hear you. And then tomorrow they drop something. You're like,
oh, I would be shattered. I'm like, you know what? Okay. Okay.
Into existence. All right. So we got Young Justice, Long Halloween, Suicide Squad, and Zack Snyder's Justice League for our DC. All right, so we got 2 more things before we close it out. Next up is one we should have a lot of fun with. And the next one is Best animated either series or movie that came out this year. That opens it up. It's not just Marvel or DC. Whatever animation you saw that stood out to you is where you can go.
You mean series or movie?
Series or movie. I wanted to open it up in case maybe someone hasn't seen that many series or that many movies. So you didn't feel like, dang, I got to go with, whatever the biggest one is or whatever.
I wish I had a list.
I know, there's so much. There's so much.
Well, just go to whatever the first one is that you can think of. Just go with that.
I have one. I'm ready.
You have one? You want to start then, Jamie?
Yeah, we can. Okay, so my favorite animated series, well, it's technically an anime, but it would definitely be Odd Taxi. Odd Taxi is this anime that kind of, it can be off-putting at first because it's basically like all the characters are animals, and it's kind of like a mystery show as to like who like killed this like teenage idol and like how her body ended up in places, and like is the main character the murderer and all this stuff. And I thought it was really interesting. I was looking forward to literally every episode, and my mom just called me, of course she did. And what else? Literally every character, or pretty much every character in that show gets developed super well. Like everybody who gets into the taxi, like you pretty much get, if you don't know them, you get an idea of their character to the point where like, okay, maybe they did it. I don't think they did. It was really well written. That's really well written. I think that's my favorite anime series.
All right, I like it. Joel, you had one?
Was Invincible this year?
Yeah,
it was.
It was this year. All right.
Beginning of this year, yep.
If I'm thinking off the top of my head, I'd probably go Invincible, considering I've actually read a lot of that, and to see it come not to life, but to see it come to moving animated like animation, hearing voices attached to these characters and seeing what differences there were between the comic and the actual animated series, and how much they condensed and how well they condensed everything. I'll have to say they did an incredible job in their first season, and I'm not surprised that they already got picked up for like I think the next two. So like I'm like
action.
And they also got live action, but Invincible was incredible, and I would say it was my standout this year.
All right, I like it. I'm going with Bad Batch. That was phenomenal. I loved everything about that show, so much so the first thing I said was, when I heard they're doing Book of Boba, well, now I need Omega somewhere here. Like when will Omega show up? Like I need Omega. But no, it was just really good. And like I said, I love Filoni's obsession with just showing us that there's just more to Star Wars than the only thing all of us ever want to see. And it's lightsabers. Like where's the flashy sticks? Like I don't care about all this other stuff. Fight. So you get the Bad Batch, and it's just such a beautiful story. About guys who, clones rather, who had one job. And when that job, didn't seem like it was the right one, how do you navigate without a cause? You're a soldier, without a war. Like, what do you do? So to see them navigate through that, I had so much fun with that show. I really did think when you get to the finale, like, some of y'all might not live. And so when you see how it plays out, I was just like, oh, phew, because I wrote off a few of you. I remember telling Joel, I thought, I won't say in case maybe someone still hasn't seen it, but the one clone that I think all of us assumed wouldn't make it, I thought would be the first one to go. And when he didn't, I was like, well, I'll be damned. So I can't wait for season 2 towards the end of next year to see how that all shakes out. But that was a great world that Feige had kind of extended from Clone Wars into its own series. So I can't wait to see what fun they have in season 2. So I'm going Bad Batch. So we got Invincible, Bad Batch, and what was it? Odd Taxi?
Yeah, Odd Taxi.
Okay. Trevon, what are you putting in? Best animated series or movie?
So a series or movies.
Yeah.
I'm over here like racking, like trying to see what I've actually watched. So Invincible, of course, I would have said that, but honestly, for me, the most exciting thing I watched that was animated for me was Sailor Moon Eternal. I really I remember watching Sailor Moon when I was younger and stuff. So I was very excited to see something new from that franchise. So I was really excited for that. Yeah, I had a great time with that. Had a few moments that a little cringy, but other than that, it was like there's a few moments in there a little cringy. But other than that, it was great to watch, and I thought the animation still looked great. And I just love stuff like that. Like I've always liked the show Witch. I don't know if anybody knows what that is. The WITCH. Where they transform. Things like that. A Winx Club, like stuff like that. I've always liked things like that. The team that transforms, the powers, all that. Like I just
like fun. The Power Rangers.
yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, yeah, that's one thing I gravitate towards. When it's stuff like that, I gravitate towards it. When
Winx Club came out, I didn't go to Winx Club. I went to Totally Spies.
Like that too.
Totally Spies.
Love that too.
Totally
Love that too.
Yeah, I went to Totally Spies. I never got into Winx Club
either.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah. I've actually been watching Witch like every morning. I don't know, like I found it on YouTube and I've been like diving back into that again. So I don't know. I just really like those type of animated shows. And I all I think about is when are they gonna try these live action? Please don't mess them up. Like could they've tried, they've done, Netflix has done the Winx Club.
How'd you like that?
It was cool, but I don't like the transformation that they did. But it's fine. They don't really transform. They don't really transform. It's like they start off the show by saying, "Oh, we lost the ability to transform." I'm like, "You what?"
Like turning it off.
I'm like, wait a minute, you what?
We lost the ability to do the one thing we want to see.
Yeah, and then the end of the show, one character does it, but it's like half-assed. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, oh, come on. But yeah, so I'm hoping they do more soon. I don't know. They're doing a season 2, so I'm gonna be there because I can't help it.
Look, whenever someone asks me why do you still watch the CW, that's my consistent answer. Like, well, I can't leave it now. I owe it to myself to just see how
I'm very much invested.
Yeah, that's all I can say.
I'm waiting for Naomi. I'm like, let's go.
That's the thing, Joel. That's the thing people I think don't understand whenever they like questioning why someone loves the CW. It's like, well, I think to certain people they believe like, all right, these shows are all starting to end. And it's like, well, no, they keep creating newer shows.
Right. They do.
So then it's newer shows you get invested in.
I would definitely be there for Naomi.
Here. Yeah. Right. You're just here.
Exactly. The world's not over.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So until everything is gone, I will always be here to see what CW brings. I won't like it all, but I'll be here.
It's the closest thing we have to like a connected universe.
Yeah.
For DC, 100. That and animated is all you have. That and animated movies, so.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Hell, look.
And I've loved He-Man too, the new He-Man that they've done.
That was
okay. I watched the first couple episodes and I'm like, what is going on? Granted, I've never watched He-Man before, so I didn't know what to expect, but maybe I'll have to go to
I never watched He-Man either. I hated fucking He-Man as a kid.
Well, that was the whole issue with the Bob and everything like that.
Yeah, he looks fucking weird. You can't be that big and have a no, I'm sorry. They don't go together. But the show, like Revelation, was incredible.
Bro,
I think it's because it starts out. I think He-Man gets like dethroned or something, and then like the lady that was like kind of his protector / girlfriend, she starts running things. And I was like, I thought I was supposed to be watching He-Man. What's going on?
That pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah, so I stopped after that because I usually give like things like usually like 2 or 3 episodes, and if I'm not into it after that, I'm like, I don't know, maybe if I get a recommendation, but
I will tell you this, it's phenomenal. And
it is.
I told you, well, that one line he delivers where he's talking to Skeletor and he's like, you know, I always was curious what would happen if I didn't have the conduit and I still said the words. And then when you see him say it and transform, you're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is dope. This is crazy. So part 2 was insane.
It really was.
Great. It was bonkers.
Okay.
I tell you
I think-
this, without knowing the world of He-Man, it legit was Avengers Infinity War, then Avengers Endgame. And Endgame lived up to what the actual Avengers Endgame was, but for He-Man. They went balls to the wall. Everything was in that final battle in part 2.
I don't know much. I know very little He-Man, but I know, I guess, enough. But I don't know a lot, you know. And I was not offended by anything they did in that first 5 episodes that they threw out there. I didn't feel like, if anything, he just kept dying. Jesus, but it's called He-Man, so I doubt he was going to stay that way. So that's why he's redeemed technically in the next half of the.
Right.
You know,
but I will say, Jamie, if you can, not telling you that it's one of those that like, oh, you must, but if you can power through part 1, because part 2 is freaking epic.
If anything,
Go
ahead.
I was saying technically it's not called He-Man, by the way.
Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, so it's not. Potentially, it's not.
Yeah. But I was just about to say.
Good.
No, they gave Tila her due. I think it's just a character that just never got her due. So I think they finally gave her due. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
But to be fair, Trevon, to what Joel is saying, if you did a show about Gotham and Batman dies in the first episode and never comes back, throw the whole show.
I know. Oh, I know. Yeah.
So doing Masters of the Universe,
trying that actually.
Right, doing Masters of the Universe with He-Man and then no He-Man. Throw the whole thing in it. There's just no other character that is more interesting than He-Man and Adam. So they always have to be there, or they always should be there. But go ahead,
did you guys watch She-Ra?
No.
That's the one with the vampire hunter, or is that?
No,
wait, that's Tris.
Princess of Power.
Right.
Yeah, She-Ra,
I did not
Princess
see
of Power. Yeah,
but how do you like it?
I love She-Ra. It's over now. It's done now. But yeah,
that's technically He-Man's sister,
right? Same, I guess, universe or should be.
Same universe.
They didn't really. It's not really like it's. This is a separate thing.
Yeah, now it is. Yeah, back then.
Yeah, and these shows is like completely. Yeah. I don't know. I think I've given Netflix like they did Voltron really well for me. She-Ra for me.
They did
actually
Godzilla really well. They did.
Yeah, so I've been.
Oh yeah, they had like a Godzilla anime, I think.
But what was the other robot show that we watched, Joel, that we both said we enjoyed? Pacific Rim. They did Pacific Rim really well.
All right.
I enjoyed that a lot.
There's some good animation stuff, so
they did
I'm excited to see what they do for Power Rangers.
Castlevania was good.
Yes.
I didn't like this season as much as previous seasons, but it was still good. It was still good.
I loved how it ended. Now, Trevon, you were saying this for Spider-Man. Jamie, have you seen Spider-Man yet?
I saw it today.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm back. I've rejoined society now.
Because I almost said something I shouldn't, so I'm like, hold on, let me ask. But yeah, Castlevania did for me what you were saying Spider-Man did. So like when it looks like Trevor is gone, I say, oh hell no. No, absolutely not. No. So then when you see him, I'm like, okay, I was about to say, hold on now. like if anyone should go, anyone else should. He needs to remain. So to see him still, I was like, that's how you end it. Everybody's together. They're breathing. That's how you end that.
Breathing.
I don't need it for Spider-Man.
Now we're getting
a
spin-off, right? Or we're getting another Castlevania, but with a different protagonist, I believe.
Yeah.
They're kids. Yeah, it's their kids.
Oh, is it? Well,
yeah.
I low key.
What's her name?
I wasn't gonna be hurt if Trevor is dead, to be honest. I'm like, you know what? He had a hero's end. And then he walked out, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I like that. He deserved more. All the people that he for sure deserved more, 100%. But no, Castlevania was also another great show.
It was.
Everyone watching, if you haven't seen Castlevania, go binge it. It's freaking epic.
Very, very good.
Really cool.
Our last one, and Jamie, I added this when I knew you were coming for you. So I'm going to start with you. Video game of the year. Now, I will say this: if it's a game that maybe came out last year, but the new DLC came out this year, that counts. That counts.
Mhm.
So if anyone has that maybe in their mind, just adding that counts. But go ahead, Jamie, kick us off. What was the best game of this year?
What came out this year?
This one is tough because I feel like I watched more than I actually played because this semester was quite tumultuous. So oh my gosh. I feel like my favorite game of the year that I personally played was probably 12 minutes, although it was a little bit there were a couple things that could have been refined, but for those who aren't familiar with 12 minutes, it's basically another murder mystery games. I gravitate towards that quite a bit. But it's a murder mystery game where you're stuck in a time loop, and each time you loop you have to try and find new clues in order to like affect the loop and like change how things play out. I cannot remember the characters' names, they don't say them too much, but you're playing as this guy, and he's having dinner with his wife, and at this dinner she says like, oh, by the way, I'm pregnant, like we're gonna have a kid. And then this police officer comes in like, you killed your father, and she's like, what? And then he ends up he ends up shooting the husband, and then when the husband dies, like it's the same scenario again. So you have to like try and do different things each time in the loop to either try not to die, which in some cases you still end up looping anyway, or to try and find a clue to like push the timeline just a little bit further along. I thought that was really cool. I also liked Resident Evil Village. I think
Really?
Resident Evil Village, I think, is number 3 for me. Number 2 is It Takes Two. But Resident Evil Village, I feel like they did not lean into enough of like the horror elements that we saw with Resident Evil 7. The story was definitely not as deep and a little bit comical, which is fine. I think Resident Evil has always kind of been that way. So that's why like when they deviated from 7, either everybody like really really liked it or really really didn't. But the main
woman that everybody that I kept watching on Twitch.
Yeah, Village had the giant lady, Lady
Okay.
Demetress. Yeah.
That shit used to scare me when I watched it. I was like, whoa, I don't know how to play this.
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
that was funny.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy how much just like having a very large woman just like completely took over the internet. That the actress, I can't remember her name, but she's won multiple awards.
Okay.
Resident Evil Village got a ton of awards that I feel like in some cases it shouldn't have gotten just because Lady Demetress is in it. I'm not saying it was a bad game, but it definitely did not surpass Resident Evil 7 for me. The story was just like not there, which is okay. You know, you're not gonna knock them all out of the park, but I did have fun playing it, and the fact that it wasn't super scary actually made it easier for me to play, because if it got too scary I probably would have just dropped it, like, you know what, this is not worth the trauma and the therapy that I probably have to get to beat the game. But It Takes Two is probably my second. So first 12 minutes, second It Takes Two, and third Resident Evil Village. It Takes Two is a really good game. It's a co-op game where you're basically playing as this married couple, and they're getting ready to have a divorce, and their daughter kind of like it seems kind of sinister at first. Their daughter basically has these 2 dolls that are supposed to represent her parents, and almost kind of like some voodoo magic, and they magically become the dolls and have to like work together to like break the spell. That's a really 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 good game. Really fun mechanics, really fun mini games. My brother doesn't play co-op games with me often, but he did enjoy this one, even though he probably wouldn't admit it himself. But I know, I saw the smile on his face. He can't hide it.
I love it. I'm going with Marvel's The Avengers Black Panther DLC. That was just a really good DLC. Like, it was a lot of fun. I've died probably more times in that game than any game I could ever remember dying in. I wasn't good at it, Joel. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? I got so frustrated with that game. Actually, did I beat it? Yeah, I beat it. Okay. I'm trying to remember how it ended. That's what I was trying to remember. I'm like, yeah, I think I did beat it. But I kept saying, like, how that story ended was some of what I was just like, you could do that in the MCU. Like that works. That really does work. Because in the comics, the same way Strange doesn't usually come out of that sanctum, Black Panther didn't really leave Wakanda all that much. It was big things that would pull him from Wakanda to anywhere else. So I like the premise of like, who the hell do the Avengers think they are landing here? You call first, obviously. And then it ends with him going, well, Shuri, you stay. I'm going to go help them out, finish this up, clean this up. And I kept saying to myself, yeah, that does, like, that works. You have a Black Panther here, a Black Panther here, or, you know, just a ruler of Wakanda, really. But she could suit up literally at any point, and I would have literally no problems with that. So I really did enjoy it a lot. Excuse me. So much so I'm like, is anyone over there in that Marvel world, video game wise, thinking like, I could make a Black Panther game? Like this was cool. We make a Black Panther game. It would work.
Mm-hmm.
It really would. And I wouldn't have a problem if it played the same as this game did. I enjoyed this game a lot. I know a lot of people didn't, but I thoroughly enjoyed myself with this game.
Oh, I still play it right now.
Yeah,
I
me
do
too.
too.
I still play it. So
sadly, I can't
everybody
play
up.
the Spider-Man DLC, but I still play.
That's where I'm at now.
So sorry for you.
You can boot up Fortnite. Spider-Man just got there.
Thank you for making me eat the crumbs. I appreciate that. But no, I truly did enjoy this game. It opens the doors for a part 2 of this Marvel Avengers world. There's just so many places you can go. Ultron, Thanos. You started with you started with MODOK, which was a shocker to me. Because when you see it play out, you're like, that makes a lot of sense. Like a first villain for us is the people playing as the Avengers. It's such a containable villain.
It was fun
right?
too.
So you're like,
it was fun to beat him.
Perfect, right? And look, that just
Monica annoyed me.
That's why I said I want to make sure that they continue this franchise. It does, but I hope they continue this franchise because I'm like, Trevon, and you'll like this. Picture how dope a Captain Marvel DLC might be. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I've been envisioning her since the first frame of the game. She's on the wall. 100%. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you. When they said they were doing Kamala Khan, I was just like, I was curious, like, well, do you have Captain Marvel somewhere in this game? And when you play it out and see she's not in there, I'm like, okay, she's off world, no problem. But don't give me a second game and she's still not in it. Like, put her in it.
I mean, Kamala is literally like that's her fan girl, so it's like you can't ignore her.
Right.
So yeah.
So I'm with you on that, Trevon. But the possibilities of other characters you can explore in part 2, endless.
Did you see the leak? Yesterday. Did you see about who's coming next?
No.
Oh yeah.
Then the actress kind of confirmed it. Basically, I was like, oh, maybe I don't know if you should have done that.
DLC.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I was like,
I didn't know there was
I don't know if
DLC.
you should. Yeah, I was like, oh, you shouldn't. I don't think you should confirm that. They have it, but the actress confirmed it. The one that's like doing the motion capture for it. I was like,
look.
No, go ahead, Joel.
No, months ago they had that whole thing that like broke out all the characters that
people data mining.
Right. Yeah. It was one of them, you know. So there was a whole bunch of characters they might do. But at that point, you might as well just wait for a sequel.
I was just about to say, as I close out,
it's a live service game, though.
I was just about to say this. Look, I've spent 10 years watching Grand Theft Auto do nothing but just regurgitate some shit that you could have just made a whole entire new game for. Yeah. Marvel's Avengers, do not DLC me to death. Okay? Let She-Hulk be the end of it, and then just get working on a part 2.
My problem with this game.
No. We're not stopping. I need you don't end this until I get Captain Marvel. Unless when I get Captain Marvel, you can No. I saw her at the beginning of the game. You need to give me her at least. Yeah. Now you gotta give me her. You got Kamala. I want Captain Marvel.
They fucked up by giving us 2 Hawkeyes off the bat. You don't need 2 of them.
They
Right,
really
back
did.
to back.
Oh my god!
You don't
Oh
do that.
God.
That's disrespectful. But and then look, I love both characters, but come on, they're the same character, even though they're different. They're very similar, you know. I just needed some different. That's why when we got the Black Panther, it was supposed to be like a new palette.
Yeah,
Like,
it really was. Yeah, it was. Yeah. And then
my
Spider-Man. Go ahead.
Spider-Man's good too. No, but my favorite part about the Spider-Man DLC is that he kind of does play like the PlayStation Spider-Man, except much slower. Like, he's dragging ass, but he has a lot of the same mechanics. My problem with the game is how much they charge you for like the skins. It's fucking ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I can't stand how much they charge you for those skins. I can't. It's unheard of.
For games like that, I've always been a fan of skins being more unlockable and you having other things that are really cool that you have to actually pay for. Because then to me, I'm like, all right, well, if you're charging me however much to get a person or something like that, I could wrap my head around that. But just to put them in a different suit, you're gonna charge an arm and a leg? Why can't I just
MCU suits are on sale because of the holiday special. But if you do the math, it's like $100.
Yeah.
For all the MCU suits.
You want all of them.
If you want
Halo Infinite's doing like the same thing where like everything in the shop, if you wanted everything in the shop today, you'd be paying, I don't know if they have a holiday special, but outside of a holiday special, you'd be paying $1,000 to have everything in the shop. And I'm like, this is kind of terrible if you look at Fortnite. Fortnite does not charge nearly that much if you want literally everything in the shop. Like you would be maybe paying like 100, maybe 200 tops. Yeah. Like, come on. And it's for things that like have been in previous Halos. So you keep paying for the same thing over and over and over again. Just like give us something, man.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Frustrating. To me, just get more creative. Like in the game, if you do these certain things, you get that skin. You know what I'm saying? Like you unlock skins doing certain things.
I think it does have that with the hero, whatever the challenge card or whatever it is. No, like they do have that. Oh, you're right. Damn it. Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm comparing to?
Yeah, the new ones. Yeah, the new characters. Yeah.
What I'm comparing to is when you play Marvel Ultimate Alliance, like the last one that just came out.
Yeah.
You unlock things by doing bigger challenges.
Yeah.
I'd rather rack my brain trying to do those challenges than you telling me my money that I work hard for.
You can get things. There's a credit to get those things. I have not moved from 900 since I beat that game, and I'm like, I don't even know how to get that anymore. How do I get those blue things? I have no idea.
I tell you what, Joe, nothing is more frustrating, and I know a lot of you guys probably here don't play it, but playing wrestling, right, where they have unlockable characters, right, that you could either pay for or go through the story. There's nothing worse than racking up all like a whole bunch of coins to buy them, but then remembering like you could just spend $3.99 on the accelerator that gives you everything. It's like, well, now what do I do with all this currency that I just racked up? There's nothing else to buy. And it's like, you got to make things more intriguing to where there's just, it's more things you can do. It's just, I have these useless points that I can't use on anything. I hate it.
It's the opposite problem. Like we just don't know how to generate. I can't generate any more of these things to buy shit I do want to buy, but they're so stupidly fucking expensive that even if I want to just pay with real money, I just like, let me pay for it. It's still too expensive.
There's a big like microtransaction problem happening with the game industry right now, and I'm hoping like things get solved, because it used to be just like you would pay with your time, and that's honestly like the most valuable thing that like all of us got, especially for these game companies. Like the more we're playing with these games and like advertising for it, like the more money they're making, instead of like these like nickel and diming people that's just like pushing them all away. So I'm hoping like, I feel like Assassin's Creed kind of has it right, even though a lot of things wrong with Assassin's Creed. But as far as like their microtransactions go, like being able really to, if you want to like skip like some of the side quests or whatever, like those things to an extent, I feel like it's okay. Like if you're just like, you know what, I'm just main story, I don't really care about anything else in the surrounding world, I just want to do main story and I'm willing to pay for it, cool. You can still unlock a lot of the armor sets and stuff like in the game if you just explore. Like if you're into that, you can definitely do it. It's just a matter of like how much time are you willing to commit. And I think more games need to do that.
Yeah, no, I told Joel playing Valhalla. I'm going through and I ended up in the marketplace by accident. And then they were saying like, oh, for $3 you can have Surtur's sword. And I'm like, fuck yeah, give me Surtur's sword. But I then started playing it, and the sword is so powerful because you're supposed to get it down the line in the game. I'm ripping through people at a point I'm not even supposed to have the sword. So I'm like, that's dope. I appreciate that. But to me, like you're saying, Jamie, you can't charge me $64 for a game and then tell me on top of that, all these little intricate things are almost as expensive. To me, you should at least loop it to where in my $64, I get like 15 skins, or 15 this or 15 that.
Gotta be reasonable.
I pay 60 here and 60 there.
I think the problem is the game is no longer that price though. Now the game is down to 30, 20.
Oh no!
Yeah, a lot of the free-to-play games
now they make all their
nickel
money
that's
from.
Fine, but I've never gone to a GameStop where a new release was anything less than $64.
Yeah, I bought it when it first came out. I think I bought whatever version was the biggest one for Avengers. I bought it at the time, so that so now I do feel like, okay, now they're getting the game for $20 now. Yay! I was like,
that is always worse.
I now have it downloaded completely for free. Because if you have Xbox, they just give it to you.
Yeah, Game Pass. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I don't know if anybody's into Tomb Raider, but like the new Tomb Raider trilogy is free on Epic Games right now. So.
Oh, on Epic Games. Okay. Because I did just beat one of the Tomb Raiders that I didn't even know when I re-downloaded how far I was. So I did 2 missions and I was done. I was like, I'll be damned.
Does that mean PC?
It's it's on the PC launcher.
Okay.
I know Xbox just had a sale on Tomb Raider games. Like one of them was like $3.
They did. I was really tempted, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm like gonna actually get to it. And then it turned out to be free, and I'm like, oh, that works for me.
Yes. Joel, even though I think I could guess 2 games, one of them I don't even think came out this year. So I think it's only one game I think you're gonna pick for this year.
Oh, I have from this year. I'm looking. I'm like, I don't think I bought a new game from like this year.
Well,
I'm still behind.
You did too.
I'm still playing one. That doesn't even count. I'm so behind that. Like last year, I binged games basically because I was stuck in the pandemic and I was
right.
all the coolest fucking games ever. And I finally got like right now I'm still playing Ghost of Tsushima, and like I just got out like the fucking they break the island in 3 pieces basically. I'm just finished the bottom, like I'm in the middle now. But that game came out last year. Like I'm trying to think of what came out this year that I bought that came out this year, and I can only think of one game, like you were saying, and that was Guardians. I bought Guardians. That game was fucking great. Guardians of the Galaxy was shockingly good because like. And I was already excited for it when I saw the trailers. Everybody was shitting on it, so I was like, "I hope it's good." I was like, it really was.
I would have said it was $30. Then I bought
it. I'm looking at this. I haven't bought it yet, but I'm looking at these sales. Like, all right, maybe I'll wait till it gets really a little lower. I don't know. Okay.
Really
I'll go for it.
I was one of the people that was shitting on it.
Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna be bad, but I was like, not. I don't know. I wasn't convinced quite yet. Like the trailers look fine, but I wasn't convinced quite yet. But now people are saying it's good, so I'm like, okay.
It's surprisingly good. Yes, you only get to play with Peter Quill.
That's like its only flaw.
It was great. Now, if you call it a flaw, it's the only flaw. Right. It far surpassed what I was expecting. It was an absolute, absolute blast of a game. Like holy shit, the Guardians game was good.
Yeah, there was a lot story-wise they did in that I
Star-Lord game, but
I was very curious. James Gunn.
I like but and you get to choose your skins. They had a lot of different types of skins, especially Star-Lord himself. I used the movie skins throughout some of the game. That was cool seeing them in their movie skins. But man, they nailed that shit. They really did. The fucking soundtrack was awesome.
I 1,000% will say the most fun about playing that.
Beautiful too. Beautiful.
Seeing,
Oh,
was
it
very
was.
was seeing Peter Quill use an actual element gun. It was very refreshing to see.
That was a big part of the story too.
And it frustrated me because it's like every time you see Peter Quill with an element gun, you just look at the MCU and go, why wouldn't you think this is the coolest fucking thing to do? Like, I don't understand. Like, why? Because I still have no idea what that is he shoots out of his gun. I still don't know. Like, sometimes it just stuns people. Sometimes people go flying. I don't know what it is. So that's what irks me the most. Is like, well, you didn't go element gun, but what is it? Like,
maybe they'll introduce it this time. Maybe it will be.
Fingers crossed that James Gunn's last movie, he give like Rocket maybe tweak something in it to where just something. Just give me the element gun. God damn. A very good pick, Joel, and it is a winner for best narrative.
Yeah,
it had one of the great.
I'll give them that too. It was
good.
Yep.
The story was really good. I was like, damn.
Some people were they were
really
saying
good.
I think Psychonauts 2 they're like bumping against like, man, I feel like Psychonauts 2 took it there. I personally haven't played it, but I've heard a lot of good things. So Psychonauts 2 did win, I think, a couple things at the Golden Joystick Awards though. So it's getting recognized. But yeah, that was big.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played that game or seen anything about it, but Guardians made me feel like that. Just made me feel so many things. So,
they had a great story.
It was really good, really good.
That's good. That's good to hear.
It had baby mamas, baby daddies. Like, it had the whole nine.
Baby mama drama. It was a whole thing.
It was baby mama drama. There was a hood. It was just great. It was awesome. Trevon, what game you going with?
Well, I mean, like you were saying, I don't know many. Like the only game I think I have bought this year was Guardians. I think. Other than the DLC for Marvel's Avengers for Black Panther, that was great, beautiful. Rare. Yeah, it was free. It was great. The character was like really done really well. I felt like that DLC was done so well they could have charged for it, but
they didn't.
No.
Oh,
Every DLC is free. Every DLC is free. But it's just like now the Spider-Man one, they could not charge for that. I can't support that. Because he doesn't have a story. Like he doesn't
have a story. No,
it's just him in the game.
And they did that because they didn't want to like. They already like look. They already get a character.
That's all.
They were like, if we give them a whole storyline, people be really pissed.
They would.
Yeah.
But he's pretty. I mean, like I like playing with him because like I got through one of those the simulation.
He's fun after he gets updated, like after he gets more power.
You gotta upgrade him.
Upgrade it because when he starts, I hated him. I was like, I hated him. I was like,
broken
you
now.
are awful.
Yeah. Now it's like he traverses so easily. Like he can get out of the way so quicker than most characters. So it's like it's awesome.
Yeah, I just swing around. I'm like, yeah, y'all can't touch me up here. Can't touch me up here. Let me
You could, like I said, you could even upgrade to get moves from the Spider-Man game. You could launch and shit. There's a lot of weird shit. I'm like,
he's I think Black Panther was the character I leveled up the fastest, but I think Spider-Man was right behind it. I think I'm at
once you upgrade
50 champion 6 already for Spider-Man. So I've really upgraded him. So he has all the moves.
I'll say this. Unfortunately for me, I was, at the time I put my PlayStation control was broken. I was playing with a broken R2 button during my Black Panther storyline. That was very hard to get through that. That was because I couldn't do the whole absorbing the kinetic energy correctly.
Damn.
It was bad. I had to it was bad. It was annoying. Finally, I got to fix it. So I haven't really been able to play Black Panther since I fixed it because I've been on Spider-Man, but I'll get back to it.
That's where all the good
that's the power
spot too. All the good gears in Wakanda. For everybody. Like you take anybody there, they get good
beads too.
I will say though, Joel just made me feel horrible. Joel's like, without a button, I beat it. and with all your you could not beat it. And it's like, that's so true. I couldn't. But all right. So before we get out of here and we end our year in review, I do want to know. We usually always do this. Me and Joel usually have fun when we do this. Most anticipated movie of next year. It could be superhero or not superhero. If it's something else that you think is
always superhero for me.
that's so massive. It's outside of the realm of superhero. I'll go first, and I'm gonna go Thor: Love and Thunder. Thor: Love and Thunder is my most anticipated. No. Hear me out. Because remember 1 year I said Venom, and my explanation had nothing to do with the movie specifically. Okay. You guys already know my love for Batman.
Most curious or most.
Oh my god!
No, most.
I googled it so I could see, like, I could think, and now I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have done that.
What?
There's so many things.
Now you
I'm overwhelmed.
No, but no, I'm very curious where you go with this as far as how you play this out. Like there's a Thor, there'll be another Thor. There's a new Asgard, but it already has a ruler. And Gore the God Butcher kills gods. But as far as we know, only Zeus is the only god we know outside of Thor to be in this. So I'm like, well, Gore the God Butcher needs to kill a lot of people like before getting to his big battle with Thor. And the freaking Guardians are in at least within like the first 20 minutes, maybe a little bit more of this movie. So I'm like, I'm curious what that arc is that will then fall into their own movie. So I have a lot of question marks with where they go with Thor going forward.
Very excited for Thor.
You know, my hopes is that we get All Father Thor. I really hope that's what we go, where they just call him All Father. So Jane can just be Thor. Like no female Thor, just Thor. So I'm very curious.
Me, but whatever. I'm not.
Wait, what'd you say, Joe?
I know that upsets people. I said I don't see how that makes any sense. But like, I know that upsets certain people. Like, she could be Thor. I'm like, she's a fucking. It's not a title. I don't understand how you can just pass that on. Like, whatever. The comics did it. So
no, that's the only reason. I'm with you. It doesn't make any sense that Odin goes, well, when this hammer goes, so does your name, and now it's a title. And it's like, well, okay. But the only reason why it bugs me so much is I don't ever want there to be a moment where we're saying Thor and then female Thor. That's the only reason why I'm like, if you just call her
female Thor, I'm just gonna call her Jane until they figure that out.
Well, I do want to see Thor ascend into All Father, because that's one of the most powerful Thors ever, is when he's All Father. So I do hope they go
Super Saiyans in this universe. You know this.
Well, we need some.
We need what?
Super Saiyans.
Some what?
He said
Super Saiyans.
Yeah,
we have one. Captain Marvel.
Yeah, but that's that. She's not gonna. I mean, when she goes binary, that's it. That's as close as you're gonna get. That's it.
Well, unless Feige ever gives a century, and we'll go full blown Super Saiyan. I hope we get Joel. But no. So that movie that's probably the only movie coming out this year that I have so many questions to. Everything else I think is pretty straightforward.
Next year.
Yeah, next year. Just next year. All right, Joel, what are you going with for most anticipated?
I mean, I don't know how it's not the Batman, but okay. It's definitely the Batman. That's the most the most anticipated. It's definitely the Batman. Cause like I've been waiting a long time for a solo Batman. It's been a long time coming. You know, it feels like it's been forever. It really has. But I have a lot of like movies like Thor: Love and Thunder looks great. Like we haven't seen anything, but I just imagine it's going to be really good.
Well, I mean, if we can believe that poster, it looks really good.
If it's anything like Ragnarok, which is amazing, then Love and Thunder is just going to be just as good or better. Maybe, who knows? Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I can't wait to see what Christian Bale looks like as Gore the God Butcher. Like scary. That's going to be fun, But number one is definitely the Batman, and I'm very obviously excited for the Black Adam and the Flash, Aquaman, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is gonna literally be madness. So I'm Black Panther, if it does come out this year, is another one that's just gonna like, Namor. If fucking Namor really in this movie, you sold. You sold me because I just want to see Namor in MCU. So you got me there. So yeah, it's hard to like. Batman is definitely number one because again, I'm biased. It's my favorite character. It's hard for me to not choose the Batman. But I think second, only because I'm very curious how it all plays out, is probably Black Adam. Probably
Black Adam might be next year's version of what I said Venom would be. To where if you fail on Venom, the likelihood of us seeing some of the small, intricate things of that Black Adam movie might be slim to none. But if that movie is a home run, I believe we'll see all of those characters very relatively soon.
Luckily, Venom was, at least for Venom, Venom is a popular character, and just because the movie wasn't that good doesn't mean the character wasn't done very well. I mean,
oh man.
I mean, look, and look, Venom did exactly what I told you I thought it would do, but in the reverse a bit. Venom did well enough for Sony to go, well, if a known character can do
made
that,
money.
Let me just give you all these unknown characters you could care less about and see if we can maybe rack up some money that way. And it's like, I think you're going in reverse of what worked, of what barely worked at that. So God bless them. But okay, so we got Thor: Love and Thunder, the Batman. Jamie, what you going with?
It's there's a lot. There's quite a bit. I feel like I have been looking forward to the next part of Into the Spider-Verse for quite some time. So that is definitely up there. My wild card is probably Sonic 2 though. I had fun watching Sonic, so I'm curious to see like what they're going to do, how they're going to expand the universe. Of course, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness is in there, and the Batman, but Into the Spider-Verse. I'm looking forward to that.
Across the Spider-Verse, Part 1.
Yeah, I need to learn the new title now, but
but no, that was a dope clip that they gave us.
It was.
Again, it created more questions than answers.
It really did.
Like, what's
that shit's gonna be good.
Miles was at home chilling. What did Gwen just get him into? Like, he was on his bed doodling, and then all of a sudden he's fighting Miguel O'Hara. Like, it's chaos. What's happening? So shout out to that. That is a really good pick, Jamie. Trevon, the whole time I've been queuing up what I think you're gonna pick. I just keep racking my brain on what movies has people flying in it. That's where Trevon's going, and I can't figure out. Trevon needs flying in most of his.
It's a must.
It's a must.
I also Googled all the movies, and I am very, very overwhelmed by the amount that I'm like very anticipating on seeing.
Yes,
it's about 20 of these right here that I want to see.
Good chunk.
I mean, if I gotta pick the main, like, I'm gonna have a great time. Multiverse of Madness is definitely my most anticipated. I love, like I keep saying, I love magic, and they're flying. So yes. I
told you.
But I also started, like, when you guys start talking about Black Adam, I started thinking about not him, but the characters that are in the movie with him.
Yes.
Like Dr. Fate and
Fate.
Stuff like that. So that brings in magic there too for me.
Man.
And I'm like,
so
if that does well, maybe it gets Zatanna. Like that's my, like, how my mind is going.
Yeah.
And of course I'm Harry Potter, like my fandoms is Power Rangers first, Harry Potter second, and then it's Spider-Man, then it's all the superheroes. So the Harry Potter franchise is and honestly, Miles has kind of taken over Peter for me. The Spider-Man that I would choose overall.
I was so hurt not to see Miles today and No Way Home, because even freaking Electro was like, there's gotta be a black one out there. I'm like, there is.
That's what I thought. That's what I was telling Joel. That's what I thought. I thought that today just today, not all the time, today, it is starting to get pretty close in that arms race between Peter and Miles on who the more popular Spider-Man is.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like there will come a time in the future where people, when you say Spider-Man, you first think Miles, and then you think like, yeah, Miles, Peter Parker, and then all the other Spider people. So that is what I thought. That is what I thought. I thought Miles was right there.
I mean, when they announced the movie, they should have never mentioned him in the first Homecoming movie, because since then, my mind has been running since then. I mean, he should have did that to
Trevon. It's coming.
And listen, but look, you did
not
that
fast enough.
But here's the crazy part. If you listen to any Tom Holland interview, he is telling you that he loves Spider-Man, but he does not want to do this forever. That should be your inkling that it's probably sooner rather than later, especially if you're Sony. You want to.
I think he will be introduced in the next movie, personally.
See, there you go.
I would love for him to be a mentor about it. I just my mind just, as soon as the blip happened, I was like, oh, he didn't get blip. He aged 5 years. That's just where my mind.
Well, we didn't know how old he was either, you know.
True. I don't know. I just wish they never mentioned him. Like,
that was cool. That was cool.
That was
because
really
I feel like we'll never get him though.
I think we will. And what's even cooler is if
2025
if Marvel is if the MCU is where we get him first, I'm even more excited about Donald Glover being the Prowler to that Miles Morales. Like,
I'm also thinking about him getting older. Like, we need to Donald Glover.
Yeah.
I don't need a young Prowler.
Yeah,
I need him to be able to. I need him to move like the Prowler.
He needs to be able to prowl, Juwaan.
Yeah,
Donald Glover isn't 50. In case you guys didn't know, he's not.
Donald Glover's not old.
You're right, not right now.
I need a realistic.
Come on.
What you know?
Again, they have stunt doubles, so I'm not really worried about that. I think his Prowler, once the mask is on, you have no idea who's under.
It really doesn't matter at that point, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Sure.
Plus, it's not like Prowler's young.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I didn't say it to be young. I didn't say it to be young. We got to move.
It's got to be believable, you know. I can't have somebody with a freaking cane and walker like I'm the Prowler.
I just watched a mid-40 Ben Affleck do an amazing job as Batman. So I think Donald Glover in his mid-30s can handle the Prowler. I think he'll be okay.
I mean, we're gonna get
as long as we get to him.
So
once we get to him, let's see when we get to him. If it's not 2027. All right, so
he's moving it back. This is the flip.
He did. It was 2025.
That's my faith. I don't know. But yeah, Multiverse of Madness is my main thing. I'm very worried about the Black Panther movie. I just don't. I'm just not that excited because I just don't know what they're gonna do with that movie, and I just don't. The things I hear, I'm like, look, they don't even know what they're doing with Shuri. I'm like, this is just like, what is happening with this movie? Like, what is it gonna be? Should you even do it? Like, it's just like, should you wait a little while? Like, push it back. Like, I just don't know.
I said that from the moment Chadwick.
So I don't know.
That you just put this on the back burner. You put it on the back burner and you just give it time to where you either find a conclusive plan or you find something that you want to do and you just stick to it no matter what. And I think that's the problem now, is that again, we're speaking from a.
Doesn't he have like 2 shows as well? Didn't he have like 2 shows?
Yeah, I think there is it 2.
I thought it was 2.
It was the Wakanda show, and they're gonna do something with Okoye or some shit.
Oh right, yeah.
So, I mean, look, I think you might have been.
Well, too much.
I don't know. I don't know, but I'm not afraid for this movie. I just want it to be there's one Black Panther, not a Black Panther by committee, not a revolving Black Panther. It's not James Bond. It shouldn't change every few years. I want you to pick one, and that's the one we have all the way through. That's all I'm saying. So whatever you choose, I will get over it. But I don't want it to be, well, she's this. In the next movie, no. You pick it now and you stay with it. And I'll be fine. So that's why I'm not afraid of it. I just want to, whatever your decision is, it's not a revolving door. That's it. So we don't ever have to worry about it again. So that's
and the last thing I'll say, Sonic 2, I think I'm gonna have the most fun with out of all the movies. I think I'm just gonna have a fucking blast with that.
Oh my god!
The things in that movie, from the trailer, it just made me very excited. I was like, oh, they're doing that. Oh, they're doing that. I was, oh my god, like what else can they do? Like it's just gonna be so fun. Like I just think that's a great world to build out. I felt that excitement with what was it, Detective Pikachu?
Yeah.
I felt the excitement because the world they built. I was like, it could work. And I haven't heard anything about that since. And I was like, come on, man. But yeah, that's the kind of excitement I feel for Sonic.
Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, so
wait, does the Mario movie comes out next year too?
Yeah.
Is that next year?
Oh, it's animated, right?
Yeah,
it's animated, right?
Yeah, it is. There's no way they could cast Chris Pratt as Mario and then have it be live action.
Yeah,
that would work.
No way.
That would not work.
Yeah, no way whatsoever. Joel, what were you about to say about Black Panther before we get out of here?
No, I was just saying my excitement for it comes more from the idea that Namor's in it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. But the mystery of what they're gonna do with Black Panther, I try not to think of it. I've already said my piece on it, and I've heard a lot of weird shit. So I don't really. So at this point, I'm trying not to worry about it, and just my excitement for I just want to see Namor. I want to see what he looks like, and whatever they do on the side, I'll eventually get over it.
That's insane. That we're essentially going, all right, a Black Panther movie. What's Namor do? I'm not worried about the Black Panther,
and that's not even official. But I'm excited.
Yeah, we're going off of that one line in Endgame. Yeah.
No. We're going off the rumor that
rumor
casted.
The actor is officially casted because that came out in the trades. They just never said who he was. They said he's gonna play the villain. I'm like, okay, now we know who we might be. And so I'm like, if the rumors are hitting hard that he's Namor.
And who's that lady that looks like Storm that they cast? I was like, who is that? Is it Storm?
She's not.
She's probably not.
Definitely no. There's no probably. She is not Storm. Yeah, you guys should have let go of that a long time. And first of all, why would it even be Storm when you already have poor Nakia as the love interest for the Black Panther? What? That wouldn't make any sense. And then to bring in Storm with no T'Challa, no, that's doubling down on not a good idea. So no, we'll get Storm in due time. But just because you said that, Trevon, I hope no one flies in Multiverse of Madness. I hope literally everyone's grounded. They're running. That's what I hope. That's what I hope.
If Wanda does, we already saw Wanda floating. So just
talk about
that was just meditating. That's it.
Talk about
they cut all the flying out of the movie now.
And
wait,
it looks like
about Jamie. That's what the reshoots were. It wasn't to add in more cameos. It was to take all the flying out. All right, let's reshoot these to where they're just running.
Can't afford the wires. That's not
Do you guys think he's using chaos magic in the trailer?
Yes, I think there's a whole bunch of chaos magic happening. Okay. Which is why I do believe with a certain amount of chaos magic, someone I began this year looking for could come from this movie. So, I'm looking forward to that.
Right? We hope
I'm very much looking for that.
It's very possible.
No, I pray at night that I at some point get Mephisto.
Just admitted to praying for the devil.
That sounds horrible, right? But look,
that is the weirdest thing to ask God. I want the devil. I want him now.
Picture God just looking at the answer machine, just like, whoa, hold on, everyone, be quiet. What is he saying? Who is Mephisto? A devil? What is wrong? I'm like, I only asked for two things. One, that no one ever flies in a superhero movie again for Trevon, and two, that I get Mephisto. That's all
I hope you never get him.
Oh no!
Never get him.
Somebody's gonna lose this, and I feel like Juwaan's more likely to lose.
You know what, Trevon? If that happens, I will find a way to get Brie Larson canceled, so that pushes the Marvels movie.
We've already tried that. My girl can't be canceled. She's fine.
That is for sure. Yeah,
they've already tried it.
She is untouched. But all right, that is our year in review. We had a lot of good stuff to come out of this year. One of the honorable mentions I want to give a shout out to is Witcher season 2.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, I didn't want to extend this show too long, but we did enjoy The Witcher season 2. So Henry Cavill,
good.
whole team, amazing job. You guys crushed it. So huge shouts out to that. But we will have a review show for that show sometime within the next week or so. So don't worry, you guys will hear our thoughts breaking that down. But I want to wish everyone a happy and safe New Year. Be safe, have fun. And look, get ready for 2022 because, like Trevon said, it is a little overwhelming. But don't worry, you have us to break down everything. So we will be doing that on the flip side. Again, shouts out to Pete, JD, and Joe who couldn't make it on today. And a huge shouts out to Trevon and Jamie for filling in. And
thank you, guys.
Always a huge shout out to
yeah.
for joining me as always. We will see you guys on the flip side. Till then, peace.
Peace.